So, fuck you! In my nearly 30 years, oh God, 30 years. In my nearly 30 years in the movie business, I have developed a reputation
which will live in infamy.
Not so much famous as I am infamous. So many have talked about me, around me, at me, but seldom to me. And now I'm gonna start saying shit. So I have decided to do a video podcast for one reason. I am a storyteller. And I've got 3 decades of stories locked away in here about movies, the movie biz, life, triumph, tragedy, all the mistakes made, all the lessons learned. The Boondoctor Podcast is what we're calling it. The Boondoctor Podcast will be discussing anything really that comes in and out of here, man. We're talking politics, current events, oddball beliefs from the Odyssey to the Onion, from the Iliad to the fact that we can no longer trust the media because it is packed with lying assholes. Over the last few years, we've all lived in a world that is moving so fast, many of us can't even keep pace with it. And I've thought about like all those cornball conspiracy theories that used to be light years from logic. They used to be. And now they're just a whisker from fact. How has all this guided today's writers, changed the stories we tell and how we tell them? I mean, for instance, now 2/3 of Americans believe there's aliens. So what happened? What happened? The lockdowns happened. We all doom scrolled on our phones and jumped on our computers looking up obscure documentaries on YouTube, and what? Now 2/3 of us are crazy? There's fucking aliens. It's also been said that good friends know all your stories, but best friends help you write them. Well, I got 2 besties that have been with me every step of the way, and they will be joining us. Can't wait for you to meet them. I have had a one-of-a-kind, crazy, wonderful life. I've made lots of friends, a few big enemies, and had lots of laughs. And, you know, if you're like me, we almost get this feeling that we've been living in a bomb shelter for the last several years. And suddenly the bombs stopped going off out there. I'm creaking open that door, stepping out into the sun, you know, seeing if we can start saying shit again. Let's just see if we can start saying shit again. That would be nice. This is a farm. I bought a fucking farm. Full disclosure, I've been living on a farm in Tennessee and slowly losing my mind. So straight up, I need someone to talk to, and you're fucking it.
You're fucking it. That's it.
You're
Welcome, everybody, to the Nerdrotic Nooner. I'm fucking stoked for this one. Greetings, everyone. Holy shit. That was a good promo. I like that.
Well, thank you. Beekler, at long last.
At long last.
At long last.
I forgot.
I got a story. Go ahead.
Well, like, Chris set up the interview, right? And then, like, we lost touch because I'm a bit of a, let's admit it, prima donna with my emails.
Sure. We'll use that word.
Yeah. Or a retard. I mean, I think retard is probably, and I forgot you dropped a gamer word. You said, I was told you had dropped a gamer word at me, and it got my attention. It absolutely worked. I think it was retard, and I think there was something else that I can't say on YouTube, but I really appreciate that email because it got my attention. It's like, oh yeah, let's do this, man. You're one of us.
Yeah, the nerd. You're a nerd that doesn't do emails good. That's weird. You're like, there's 2 of those in the universe.
Like you, we're all complex individuals who have our fucking neurotic hangups. But we are joined. Hi, Chris. Say hi, Chris, and X-Ray Girl. Forget you.
Hi.
You guys.
Hey, man.
We're joined.
Hey, everybody.
We're joined by a punk rock filmmaker. All right, a guy. I fucking adore Boondock Saints. This is getting super gay. This is getting super gay right now.
Shit.
So,
oh my God, that's just super nerd, bro. You are the nerd of nerds. Are you like the king nerd? Do other nerds kind of orbit?
Chris is the king
you?
nerd. Chris.
No.
Chris, I can
But
figure out which way to point.
I'll say this,
That guy.
Gary's been talking about this movie forever. Your name comes up in conversation, and I got a gift for Gary to commemorate this meeting right now. It's a candle. Put me full screen if you would.
Yeah.
A candle that says "Smells like you're gay." So I'm giving this to you, Gary, in honor of this meeting. A candle that smells like you're gay.
A candle in the broken wind.
You said it before I did.
Live my life like a candle in the wind.
Troy Duffy, director of Boondock Saints 1 and 2. Part of that documentary Overnight. I know you got your feelings and you'll talk about them. And
my favorite subject. I can't wait.
I know. I was just, but that was a litmus test for me with my friends. Because if you watch that documentary and didn't come out, I kind of like that guy. Everybody's like, that's the way I came out of it.
I like this guy. He sticks to his guns. He's no bullshit. Actually, the best thing about that movie isn't the movie; it's the poster. I'm sharing it now. If you would.
Oh
so
yeah.
The poster is actually badass.
Yeah, I fucking love that.
I love it.
They also did a good job, as you said, and you'll talk about it, skirting like actual facts and stuff, but for sensationalism, but that's what documentaries do nowadays, right? But I came out of it going, I fucking like this dude even more. So,
dude, I had a buddy that was like, oh my God, it's the best thing. Because when it first happened, I was like, this is horrible, right?
Yeah, of course.
And my buddy was like, no, you kidding me? You're infamous. It's going to be great. Like any press is good press. And it just like it took a while for, I think now, maybe when I do my podcast and talk on other podcasts that, maybe Duffy's getting his revenge at long last, but it was like, we can talk about it if you want, because the thing that very few people get is that, now I think me and Gore were talking about this, God is the director of documentaries and there's such big questions that weren't answered, like why did Harvey kick me out of Miramax?
I'd love to know.
You're supposed to know. You watched the damn documentary. So you're not an
underage intern.
Here's what happened, and it's pretty much just like the story of dudes, and all the dumb shit we do. These two guys, Mark and Tony, they were our friends. They hung at the bar. We saw them every night before anything happened. And one of them wanted to be a director and one of them wanted to be a producer, right? And then this whole thing hit. We're doing, movies and music at the same time. And they come up with this idea to do this documentary on us, right? And somehow, some way, without actually saying it, they managed to convince their audience that it was somehow my idea. And then I made my two, beleaguered friends follow me around with cameras for years. This was their idea. They came to me and pitched it. And we had the whole entourage of guys, the band, the other producers. And I had them pitch it to them. And then we all voted and, we said, yeah. And they were like, what they wanted to do was like this gritty, down to earth documentary about, they're like, all these kids want to get into music and film and you're doing it both at the same time. But it's got to be real and stuff. It could be taught in film schools. We'll get to that in a second because it actually is taught in film schools now. But don't worry, we're your friends. We'd never fuck you.
Famous last words.
Oh yeah. They must have said that 100 times during the process, but it's almost like this. If like you go out and have a red letter fucking evening, you drinking your ass off with your boys. And then, the next day in the car, the guy's like, oh my God, you were so funny last night. Don't worry. I got it all on film. And you don't even remember what the hell you said. Right.
Yeah.
So all the guys started going, this is getting out of control. And then we were giving them a lot of money. There were like producers donated and stuff like that. And it was almost like, if you invite your boys over to build a new porch, everybody's good during the morning coffee, but as soon as you all start working together, you're having arguments on what kind of fasteners to use, what materials, whether we need to pour a foundation. Everybody's at each other's throats. So throughout that, say, 3-4 year period where they were filming, these were the highs and lows of I think a lot of our lives in that little crew, you know, and a lot of good stuff happened and a lot of bad stuff happened. And so by the time it was over, there was a pretty sour relationship, and those guys like disappeared with their footage, and all the rest of us were like, whew, right? But what really happened was what they did was this, you know, Duffy acts bad, something bad happens, he acts worse. Duffy acts bad, something bad happens, he acts worse. So when I finally saw it, because I didn't see it on the advice of Billy Connolly, he was like, dear boy, don't watch it. That way when reporters ask you, you know, you can tell them to fuck off. And and that's what I did. But then like 3 years after it was released, I was bored shitless one night, and there it was. I was like, click, you know, and I watched it. And I realized what they did. They hid the truth so perfectly well, gave so little context that it was obvious. It was just like, make them look like a dick. And made me understand how effectively you can screw somebody in an editing room, right? You can make them look like Satan. So that was not the norm of behavior back then. It must be said, though, that the whole thing was my fault. I take credit for everything. The whole thing was my fault. A man's choices, the choices he makes, whatever happens is his fault. So should have managed that situation a lot better. And I didn't. We were just kind of pushing all these boulders up the hill, trying to do music and film at the same time, and this documentary. And I just figured it'll all work out in the wash. We're all friends. Everything will be fine. You know, don't worry. They're our friends. They would never fuck us.
Well, first lesson we learn about Hollywood and any creative endeavor out there, right? I imagine, I mean, I wish they had documentary cameras around James Cameron during his shoots, Mr. Feminist now. And, well, hey, Neil Gaiman, whoo. I don't know if you heard about that, but
well, who's that?
Oh, Neil Gaiman is a writer, a male feminist who just got exposed for not being a male feminist, actually being quite the opposite. Actually being a male feminist, a true male feminist, like, you know, screwing nannies and stuff like that. Good fun stuff.
So he was just trying to get pussy the whole time?
Yeah, pretty much, yeah.
But
I love that guy.
To be fair, I want to defend assholes for a minute.
Yes.
Okay.
I want to defend them because sometimes you need to be an asshole to get things done.
Yes.
You really, and if you worry about what people think about you, you end up with where I'm at in, you know, you end up with fires everywhere. You know, the mayor position in LA is not an honorary position like being the grand marshal of a parade. You have to do shit. And sometimes that means being an asshole.
And not being in Ghana at a cocktail party while city burns. But continue.
Yeah, but so I will just say, I think I miss assholes. So I don't care. When I saw that doc, like Gary, I had the same reaction. I like this guy. He's an asshole because you need to be sometimes. You need, being on a film set, it's intense. You got to get things done. You got to go it's like leading an army. And not only that, you can't worry about people's feelings all the time. And you know what? 18-hour days, they're going to be off-color jokes. Yeah. Get over it. If you can't handle it, walk away. So F that. And also I want to point something out. Boondock Saints came out in 1999. That was a banner year for film. Check this out, Gary. These are studio movies that were released in 99. Fight Club, The Green Mile, Sixth Sense, Matrix, Eyes Wide Shut, Magnolia, American Beauty. Boondock Saints should be on that.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yes, it should.
Those are some good ones.
Studio movies. This doesn't even include indie movies like Boondock Saints. 1999. People have written about this. That year for film was a banner year. Look at this. They're all bangers. And we remember these movies along with your movie. And the Daredevil Born Again trailer just dropped today.
Oh, we'll look at that later.
I watched it.
I watched it. We'll watch it again though, because I want to.
It's like Boondock Saints with costumes. It's like that's it's, you know, it's definitely like you said it, Gary. It's like Boondock Saints is kind of like the Punisher.
It's a
really-
it's a superhero origin story. You know,
Yeah.
it is. At least that's the way I walked away from
Yeah.
it.
Anyways, my rant there. I had to get that
No,
in.
no. I mean, thank you for that because you're right. You do have to be an asshole sometimes. But if what I would do, I actually believe this. If most of the people knew the real story of why I said this or got pissed off, they would have said, "How did you hold back for so fucking long?" You know, because I wasn't just dealing with studio. I mean, essentially, the facts don't change, right? My band got a record deal with Maverick Records, movie deal with Miramax, lost them both, resurrected them both with different studios and record companies. And I did my movie and my album my way. And how I got there wasn't acting like an asshole 100% of the time to all the people, you know, all my representatives and the people I love in my life and the guys I'm doing this with. I mean, it's impossible to do that. And that seems to be the message of the film. And you know, Harvey Weinstein's the good guy, evidently. You know, how dare you, Duffy? That poor man. How could you do it to him? You know, so I mean, you don't get there. People don't continue to throw deals and money at you if you're just acting like an asshole. So I thought the whole premise was off, and that's the thing that upsets me about film school because I've heard it a bunch of times now. This is being taught as a cautionary tale in film schools, as if the thing is accurate, and it's just a deceitful thing. Again, completely my fault. I shouldn't have said those things, but I got a fun story for you. Some of the most controversial. Watch it again if you ever get around to showing it to your friend. Watch it again and keep an eye out for this. Some of the most controversial shit I say, I'm not on camera, and that's because these guys used to do. I caught it when I first watched it 3 years after it came out. I'm like, they would make this show of taking the camera off the thing, putting it in the little bag, and I'm still wearing the lav mic, and they're recording me. So the interview's over. And they're like, "What do you really think, bro?" And I think I'm talking to one of my bros, right? So I was like PG-13 during the interview, but then I was, "Oh, that fucking fat bastard, I'll kill him," you know. And
To be fair, he was a fat bastard.
Yes.
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, they did some pretty sneaky things like that, but you know, it's a story of betrayal. You know what the worst part about it is? They got something like 300-400 hours of footage. They got the whole real story of what happened, you know, and it is quite crazy. They've wanted to do 2 biopics on me.
That's crazy.
Ridiculous. It was a really, really crazy time. That was almost like the last. You guys remember that last kind of tranche of you know, guys like me and David McKenna and a couple others that did American History. They were like the last spec script sales guys. You know,
yeah,
the big numbers going to like complete. You know, first timers. That was that part of the industry. That was that time period, and it was so fucking cool.
Yeah, that was, well, I mean, all bubbles burst on that one. And I wish we could go back to those days, considering the money that's being wasted now. But yeah, the universe unfolds as it should. Harvey Weinstein is dying in prison right now. Say, well, you know, probably deserved it. We'll see. Guy deserved it. Not a good dude. I think he's got. Personally, I think he's had people whacked. I mean, that's just me.
You think so?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. That's just my speculation.
Oh my God. You know, I don't think I told you this, Gore, but I got Hollywood Stories by Jack Handy. You ready for this one?
Ready.
First time I meet Harvey. He gets faxed my script while he's in the air, faxed on his jet. He's coming from New York to do the Oscars. It was that year that they swept the Oscars, like with 12 Oscars, chocolates and stuff, you know. So Miramax sweeps. By the time he gets on the ground, by the time he lands, he's read my script. And he's like, "I want to see this kid right now." So we're arranged to meet at the Peninsula Hotel. At the same time, Mike DeLuca over at New Line reads it. And they end up getting in a bidding war at the end of the day, but I'm going to meet Harvey Weinstein for the first time. I got my overalls on. I got my producers with me, you know, go in the room and there's just this fucking table of nosh, dude. Food, just piles of food, you know, and it was beautiful. And he's like, yeah, help yourself. He's getting fitted for a tux. So I sit down, I'm across from Harvey, and his brother Bob used to do this thing where Harvey would sit in an armchair and Bob would like just be right over his shoulder, almost like a, you know, like a pirate's parrot or something. But it became obvious to me that Bob was a big part of the brains of the outfit, right? Was even kind of like, you know, whispering in Harvey's ear here and there. So he's like, oh, the fucking great script, best script I've read in fucking 10 years. He goes, who do you want in this movie? So at this time is before I get into casting, but I'm throwing out my my big names. Like I originally wanted Jim Carrey to play Smecker. He was the role that Willem got because he was getting into his dramatic chops. He was doing the Truman Show at the time, and I thought like he had a lot of great drama potential. And you know, I started naming a couple other names, and Harvey goes, if you don't go with Miramax, I'm going to get everybody you just said in my movies and you won't be able to use them. And I was like, gangster tactic.
Yeah.
Right? It gets me to tell him everything. Gangster tactic. So already I'm feeling good, warm and fuzzy. I want this guy on my side, right?
Yeah.
So at the end, we keep talking and talking and talking. And he's like, just fucking name it. What do I got to do to get this movie? And I go, how about a big kiss on the lips? Right. And my producers, they know that I'm a little, you know, they know I'm not the usual guy that they're dealing with in terms of film. And so they're like, ha, 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 ha. And Harvey's like, ha, 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 ha. And there's this really uncomfortable pause. I stand up, I start walking towards him. Right. And he starts like backing up in the chair. But he's like, sitting down in the chair. So I grab the two arms and I go in for the kiss. And Harvey like turns his cheek, like he doesn't put up his hands or anything. He turns his cheek and I gave him a big one right here. Everybody's fucking laughing. Right. But at the end of the day, we say goodbye. And he invites me to the Miramax after party at the Mondrian Hotel. So same night. Right. I'm standing in line with these two strippers that I brought. They're looking pretty good. And up comes one of the guys in Miramax, yanks me out, brings me all the way up to Harvey, and his wife is there. And she's like, what have you done to my husband? And I was like, I fucking sexually assaulted him at the Peninsula.
How's it feel, Harvey?
I had no idea how prescient that would be.
Yeah.
That story aged well. Me too.
Yes.
Said Harvey.
You are the vengeance. Oh my God. Yeah, it still sickens me that guy's name is on Lord of the Rings, but you know, we have to deal with it. You
kind of gotta give Harvey his due. I mean, if you ask people, even before before or after this happened, if you ask people their favorite movies, you're gonna get a couple Miramax ones on.
Yeah.
There, you know, so he had that skill. He knew what he was doing, but. Wow, you know, it's funny too because as soon as it happens, like everybody in Hollywood knew this all along. You remember that shit?
Yeah,
I didn't know shit. Like from the very beginning, I was the black sheep of the industry. They didn't let me. I wasn't like, you know, going up to barbecues at Brad Pitt's house. It just didn't happen for me like that. So I was shocked, and nobody else was. Like even my own agent, he's like, "Oh yeah, everybody knew about that." I'm, really? Nobody told me. You know?
Shit. It's crazy.
And like, hey, what am I, chopped liver?
Yeah, apparently you weren't good enough to get sexually assaulted because you already sexually assaulted Harvey. So
that was it. I blew my chances by coming on too strong.
Yes. Yeah, but it's you know, I mean, I'm sure you told the story a million times, but the lead up to how your movie got made was pretty fucking cool. This is the punk rock aspect of it. You were at a bar. You were working at a bar, right?
Yeah.
Were you the bar owner?
No.
Okay.
A bouncer.
You were the bouncer.
Yeah, we were trying to get our band going. We're both bouncers at Sloan's on Melrose. It's about the coolest bar ever. And, you know, when the whole thing starts happening, this one night out of the blue, we're all in there having a great time as usual. And Harvey's limo pulls up and him and all his Miramax peeps funnel in, and we did have some, we had some pull there. So we set up a table, all private, even though the place was packed, and Harvey's drinking pitchers of beer, kind of a lightweight when it came to booze, but he just he just was charmed by the whole place. And he's like, well, what are you going to do with the money? Because he knew I had never, made any money. He's like, what are you going to do with the money? I was like, I think I'm going to buy this place.
Oh, there you go.
Maybe. And he's like, why don't we buy it together? And this could be like, the West Coast kind of Miramax meeting place. And you can just run it and we'll own it together 50-50. So I was like, yeah. And that was the story that made it onto the cover of USA Today and kind of went beyond outside the industry, and after that, like even doing the film, I met young writers and actors that had taken my article and, they what the fuck, stuck it to their refrigerator and had it there for months or years, it was this thing, but, and it never actually happened. We got into it too fast, me and Harvey, and came to blows too quickly. But the initial contract said best efforts to negotiate the purchase of Sloan's, which, once you start throwing fists, was no efforts.
No efforts. Yeah.
So that never happened. But it was a wonderful dream, and it got us a lot of ink, And I think Harvey's he was pretty brilliant about that stuff. Somehow getting the press like a bunch of free ink was he was a master at that shit.
Yep. So you were a bouncer writing a script for Boondock Saints. What kind of writing did you do before that? Was it just personal? How much have you done? None. There you go.
I was just a big reader before that. My father was a Harvard English Lit grad, and so he would make all of his kids read extracurricularly. And then we had to give we had to be able to talk about the book at the end of the month, and he would quiz us and make sure we knew everything. I read Siddhartha, The Good Earth, James Joyce, Portrait of the Artist as a Young Man, all the greats when I was very, very young. And my dad made me understand what good writing was. So when I tried to do a script, I just got I had living in Hollywood, everybody is an assistant or and one of my friends just got me a script that had been made into a movie. I think it was The Bear, Robin Williams. And I just kind of looked at the format. There was no writing programs back then. I didn't even have a computer, so I'd write it on notebooks. Then I would rent a computer every weekend. And remember those 3.5-inch little stupid discs? I would just stick it in there, and I just copied the format of the script, int, bar.
Yeah.
There was no writing program. And I got it done in about 3 months. It was just like this rush of just creativity. And all I was doing was trying to write a movie that I would want to go see, because so many of them, you guys ever get that feeling like, who ran into the conference room with this shitty script and went, this is the one, guys. Oh, this is going to change our lives. We're going to make millions. I mean, and it's the shittiest movie of all time. So I felt like, hey, I could probably do better. And it just kind of blew up in my face.
Nowadays, we're asking, how many people did this shitty script get by who are highly paid? And the answer is a lot. But I love that you brought up, because you brought it up with Film Threat too, is somebody asked you, hey, give me advice on as a beginning writer. And you said, read a lot of books.
Yeah. That's the key, I don't think people focus so much these days on the end result, wanting the money, wanting the deals, and they don't do the work you need to do up front. And this kind of all took me by surprise. I wasn't a fucking writer. Oh God. Yeah. I wasn't a writer. I was just had my head in a book, and was really funny. I would read at the door, on Sloan's, checking people's IDs, and people in LA were like, oh my God, he's reading. You read, and it was like
you and LeBron James.
Yeah.
Is it the same book each time?
I was just like so blown away. I'm like, you don't read here, but what I was reading at the time was like I think it was like Clinton's autobiography. And the next, just to get the other side, I was reading some Rush Limbaugh, and the reaction was, "Why are you reading that?"
Yeah, of course.
I got it right off the top, man. But yeah, reading and understanding what great writing is something that a lot of people in the business, they've actually, they've skipped that one. They've skipped that class. And I think me and Gore talked about this. Joe Average can walk into a movie theater and watch a movie he's got no idea, has seen no trailers, and he can come out and tell you whether it's good or not. But the people in charge can't. They all thought Star Wars was a bomb. They thought Easy Rider was going to fail. They almost didn't do The Godfather. These are people that watched it when it was done. How the fuck do you watch AFM top 100 movies and not know whether they're good? In fact, think they're shit. Star Wars has to be like one of. I know we should talk about.
Oh, we will.
I don't want to push any buttons on Beekler this early in the podcast, but we should.
My buttons are already pushed, Troy. It's okay.
Have you watched Skeleton Crew? It's a delightful show for children. That's what Star Wars is now.
Oh man, what was that one you were just talking about off air with Pete? Oh God, The Acolyte. I literally felt like sometimes I was watching like a really highly produced bad high school theater production.
Yes.
Like you would never, somehow, some way, Lucas and Star Wars and the first, I'd say 3, like say you're walking through the bar of Aliens, you didn't question anything. You were just like, oh, that's cool. I believe that. And here I just saw all the strings in the background and the shitty makeup, I was like, that's a dude dressed as a fucking thing, and sometimes I can't even explain it too good, but sometimes you just saw all the shit of making a movie rather than you were watching a movie.
No verisimilitude. Let's use Robert Meyer Burnett's term, verisimilitude. Well, you're not buying into it. That's the word. Oh. And you're right.
Verisimilitude.
I had to look it up when Rob said it too. Okay, I like to throw it out there like I've known it all my life, but I've never heard that word until Robert Meyer Burnett said it. But yeah, we were talking before the show. Patrick Bet Davis did David. I said Davis. Whatever.
It's David.
Patrick Bet Davis. Sammy Davis Jr. Was doing a clip on, and I like PBD on The Acolyte, and I wanted to crawl through the screen because they're like, "What is this? This is the gayest Star Wars ever. I haven't heard of this." And I'm like, what? He's a transgender character. And it was based on and I'm like, oh, bro, I want to help you so much. So they did a Rasmussen poll on Disney recently. And by the way, this isn't like Bounding into Comics doing a poll or me doing a poll on Twitter. It's Rasmussen. And Disney's approval rating or disapproval rating is almost at 50%. Its approval rating is only at 16%. So that means the rest of the people don't give a fuck. So that's kind of bad. That's kind of bad.
I think that's more Snow White and like some of the other dipshit movies.
Everything.
Man, I remember like you guys like ever take your kids to Disney World, Disneyland?
Back in the day, yes, Disneyland all the time. Dude,
I could just feel all the money coming out of my pockets within seconds. You feel like, I spent $100, $200. But then my daughter needs it. Oh, the mouse, the fucking Mickey. And suddenly they're masters at it. But it's because they created these iconic brands from the 1930s and 40s. You like Snow White, like Mickey Mouse, and when you change them fundamentally like that, especially for woke reasons, it's like, wait a minute, my kid liked that. I spent $1,000 on that, and now you're changing it. I don't even want my daughter's 11. I don't even think I'll let her watch this Snow White. She'll be in tears by the end of it.
Yeah, just watch the original. Yeah. No, we'll just roast it, or maybe it will be the greatest movie ever made.
Yeah, bullshit.
Yeah.
What do you think? What do you think explains that? Do you think all the Disney, the mishandling of the heirloom Disney brands that they've created is causing that 46% and 16% approval? Or do you think it's like all the movies they make?
I think it's a culmination of many things, many factors that Disney did to themselves, including trying to put the message in every major production. Tentpole productions are supposed to bring people to the theaters so smaller films can survive. So they need to have the most mass appeal of all. They need to stay out of politics, but you want to put intersectional feminism in Star Wars. You want to put critical race theory in Marvel. With Falcon and Winter Soldier, and that's going to drive off half your audience automatically, and then drive off another portion who's like, might even root for this shit, going, I come to Marvel to watch superheroes. That's it. Excuse me. Hang on. I'm going to DSP. But also getting involved in politics. That, like, what they did in Florida was a massive fuck up beyond belief, and they lost their tax status. But more importantly, like you said, we walked into Disneyland, and aesthetically, I've never been to Disney World, and I never will be now. But Disneyland is so cool. Everybody complains that it's small, but when you first walk in, it's so fucking cool because it's so immersive. Immediately, you're in another world. In the middle of Anaheim, fucking Anaheim's kind of a shithole, okay? In the middle of Anaheim, California, you're in another world. The song's playing, and your childhood comes back, because my dad took me damn near every month to Disneyland because we live close to it. So it was part of my childhood. It was fucking awesome. I loved being there. And it's this immersive experience. And now that's all ripped away. Like you said, it's all ripped away. We can see who's behind the curtain. We can see the strings. We can see the strings, and the strings are attached to fingers who don't like this shit, don't want to sit, are not artists, who don't understand. They just see you guys and see film and TV as a commodity, as a widget, as content for fledgling streaming services in a subcategory. That's what Star Wars has turned into, and that's just one facet of it. And it started. You started dealing with this early on. You came in the late 90s when you could still be fucking punk rock and still make jokes. The PC shit was crawling in then. Andrew Breitbart, Hollywood Interrupted. This came across my radar recently, working on a video. He wrote that in 2003. And if you listen to his interviews and read that book, what he warned about in 2003, famously he said politics is downhill from culture. Whether you like the guy or fucking not, he was fucking dead
Totally right.
Dead
Totally
right. That this PC stuff was coming in, that one party completely understood how important pop culture was and how influential it was. And they slowly started weeding their way in there like a cancer.
It appears to have happened so fast, right, over the last 4 years, but it's literally been creeping for a decade or two before that.
Yep.
What we just witnessed in the last 4 years was the culmination of the really I feel like almost we just recently, thank God, pulled back from the edge. But what you're talking about with Disney, you would think that the CEOs and CFOs, everybody that worked at the very top of the Disney pyramid would be the ones that had the most respect and concern for the legacy, heirloom brands that they have over there. It would be the ones that are like, don't fuck with them too much, just a little, like they would be the biggest nerd. You, Beekler, you. I would picture a guy like you as the CEO of Disney that would protect everything. That's almost half the ball game.
Every movie would come out late.
They're like, oh wow, this guy's a financial genius. Well, so fucking what? You need somebody protecting story and knowing what good story is to expand this.
A brand czar. You need a Star Wars czar, a Marvel czar, a Pixar czar. That even rhymes. Yeah, like you need somebody who will cock block the bankers as much as possible.
Studio czars, man, because all these studios have unbelievable libraries too. James Bond and all the Paramount Star Trek and stuff like that. Star Trek. Oh god. James, like, it's so crazy. I don't know if you're familiar. The Blade movie, the Blade movie with Wesley Snipes came out in 1996. Really fun movie. Wesley Snipes. Fucking Norman was in it.
Norman was in it, and killing vampires. Just killing vampires. That's all good. Disney somehow cannot crack the code on that movie. It's by the way, it's dead, folks. Blade is dead. You haven't heard it yet, but Blade is dead.
Were they gonna what? They were gonna remake it.
They were gonna remake. They're bringing Mahershala Ali, who's a good actor, and they were gonna do it, but they couldn't figure out how to get a vampire hunter killing vampires. It was like a code they couldn't crack at all, and it's because of the current state of Hollywood. It was too masculine. You can't have this man running around killing vampires. What about the vampires? We got to put 4 girls around him all the time. So they couldn't figure it out, and now it's fucking dead. It's dead. You haven't heard it yet, but it's dead. Also,
I had a female executive say to me when I was trying to make Boondock Saints into a television show, could they be sisters?
The Netflix Boondock Saints. Let's do it.
No.
2 Irish black lesbians.
Boondock Saints. But what do you think is going to happen now? Because that they have crushed every brand. They have in some of the most horrifying ways. They have done some real damage here. And it's like they're sitting there bleeding. They don't know how to fix this wound quite yet, you know? My phone ain't ringing, and right now it should be. They should be calling up all the guys that did, right now, even the studio heads are going, we got to get back to the way it was.
Yeah.
We can't do this anymore. I thought when Maverick came out, I thought the next day, every studio head was going to call all stop, everyone in my office now. It stops now. We're going right back to real storytelling, right? When that happened, I was just blown away, and there was nothing. They even got snubbed at the Oscars and all that shit.
To do that, you'd have to be an asshole. You need an asshole leader. Have you ever dealt with building contractors? The biggest a-holes around, but they get shit done. Yeah. No one in Hollywood is willing to be an asshole. That's why, Dante says this, I don't. He misses Harvey Weinstein, right? Like you need a guy with a baseball bat walking around the table of everyone with the baseball bat going, this is how it's going to be. We care too much about people's feelings. It kind of sucks.
I think that, and also right now, I think the reason it might actually change for the better and go back to real storytelling is because fame itself just took a hit.
Yes.
It doesn't work to be famous anymore.
Nope.
At least in political, in supporting political celebrity endorsements, I think it's going to be a while before we see any of that shit happening again.
Oh, that was the biggest loser of last year was the Hollywood celebrity.
Yeah, winner for us though.
Win for us. So now go be famous for being good, and don't worry. I think, correct me if I'm wrong, and you too, Chris. I've always thought celebrities got political to try to justify basically their white guilt. And I use it like in air quotes because it's not always white people. It's you go out and pretend for a living and you get paid insane amounts of money. You get to have a nice house up in Palisades. And, you live a pretty fucking good life. And then you're, sometimes, questioning you're human. You're like, I pretend for a living and I make more than any fucking doctor or underwater welder or like people who actually make shit in the world. Yeah. That's got, that there now there's a certain amount of, I don't give a fucks that should be with that. It's like, hey, I do this well. I don't care, but I think a lot of them struggle with that. So they're like, we have to go out and be activists and actors. And it always happens, like, especially with female actors, when they hit their 40s, all of a sudden they're activists. I am an activist. And that's been the bane of our fucking existence for especially the last 4 years. I'll be specific. You don't have to. Woke white women, especially from Hollywood. They've been the fucking worst. They've been the absolute worst. And now we're seeing the result of, things should have changed before COVID. I think they were changing to where they are now before COVID, and COVID reset that. And it was like going against culture. And it was about, and the dam fucking broke. That's what happened. So that's why the Hollywood celebrity got a little second chance of life. And instead of maybe working with the people, you were like in your mansion rooting on fucking riots and shit. People will not forget that anytime soon. So when they come out and take this beating, a lot of people were happy, Troy.
Oh,
A
yeah.
lot of people were happy.
I was one of them. I mean, the zenith. You're absolutely right, but I would also include singers and rappers and
Yes.
the entertainment industry as a whole. With actors, though, I never really got it. I mean, that's been going on for a while. At the very beginning, I was just like, why would you care about an actor's political opinion? It's almost like, hey, there's something wrong with my car. I think I'll go down to the grocery store, see if anybody can help out.
Yeah.
You know, it doesn't make any sense. On top of that, and this is a Hollywood secret that I am revealing on your show for the first time.
All right. Breaking news.
Actors are fucking stupid.
What?
They're stupid. All right.
I've known that for years. I've interviewed them.
And it's funny because not all of them. You have your smart actors out there, and the ones that are even politically informed. You may not agree with what Robert Downey Jr. says, but he's smart.
Yeah,
he's read
smart.
a few books. He did that whole documentary on politics. He gives a shit. He can debate you and hold up his side. So you have those type of guys. They're just incredibly rare, you know? And here is an actual piece of insight. The reason they go to the left like that and harangue and say the most intolerant, crazy shit. I'm going to burn down the White House and cutting Trump's head off. The reason they do that is because they know they're not going to lose a single fan on the right. Because what the fuck was that? Dude,
that was a dramatic zoom. That was awesome.
This thing responds to hand motions. I don't even know how I'm going to get that back.
What if you do?
Now you're going to have to look at my big fucking head. All right. They know they're not going to. What the fuck? Oh shit! I'm going the wrong way.
The other way, yeah.
All right, here we go. All right.
Oh,
bring that.
No way.
That's actually really cool.
Look, you can actually do hand gestures.
There's a bunch of women out there going, does that work on my dude? Hang on a second.
I'll do that. When I'm fucking somebody.
Like Minority Report,
ladies.
There.
So the secret, the industry doesn't want you to know. Every one of these actors, every one of these singers, every one of these rappers know they're not going to lose a single person on the right. I don't go to Robert De Niro movies for his political opinion. We don't care. We literally don't care. So they know they're not going to lose many of us. We don't cancel people, right? They know they're not going to lose conservatives. They're not going to lose people right or even middle. But they get to virtue signal as the people that are. It's like when George Clooney, that's the zenith of this to me.
Mm-hmm.
George Clooney's involvement with choosing our president. It was almost like, dude, have you done so many movies where you save the world, you actually think it's real?
Yeah.
You know? And so I got to this point where I was like, that tells me how far they'll go, because if she had won, he would be being hailed as a hero right now. The guy,
the kingmaker,
democracy,
or the queen maker. Yeah.
the
queen maker.
All right, I'm stealing that, Big Lip.
Yeah, you can. And instead, he came up and goes, I feel betrayed by Obama, who made me write that letter. It's like, shut the fuck up.
My God.
Not even a movie star.
Yeah, not all. He's too smart for that. He knew what he was doing. He took a shot. He bet on the wrong horse, and now he's doing I'm just going to stay out of politics.
Good.
Thank
you. Wish you would have done it 20 years ago.
Say that at the same time.
Yeah.
Gore, you got to unmute your mic, man. I think we had a trio.
Yeah,
it was a gangbang on.
Yeah,
good.
no, they're doing construction next door. I'm trying to.
Are they trying to rebuild whatever? Rebuild the neighborhood after a fire? Fucking you complaining with your first world problems.
I'll chime in. Don't worry.
They're doing such a great job. I mean, see how they compliment each other at all the news, conferences? They're like, I'm awesome. I changed them from 2 shifts to 3.
Wow.
That was me. Like, fuck you, dude. You can imagine some guy's house burnt down and he has to turn on the TV at the, hojo he's staying at and listen to all of these appointed city leaders and even the top brass of the fire department complimenting themselves in a circle jerk of self-congratulation. My house burnt down. Fuck you.
Yeah. No, seriously, like, compliment the firefighters all day long. Like, hey, we got some great people. They're working extra shifts. They're not sleeping. Love those guys. But our leadership is awesome. We have administrated very well. We are the best the very best administrators. And sure, our mayor was gone in Ghana, and now pictures on the LA Times, by the way. The LA Times put this out, Chris, of her at a fucking cocktail party while LA was burning.
Is that real?
Yes. It was in the LA Times.
I've got
she's getting, for lack of a better word, roasted. So
this is what I mean. And we gotta at some point Justine Bateman has to get on the show. Troy, I don't know if you follow Justine Bateman. She is on fire.
She's
literally.
great.
Yeah, she's awesome.
And she,
she was calling out Newsom and Karen Bass, all this bullshit, and Karen Bass smiling through all this, cackling like freaking Kamala.
Like she's
so annoying, so effing annoying. And here, Gary, I've shared this on my show the other day.
It looks like she chugged Smilax, dude. Like she's always got a smirk on it. It's like, what are you fucking happy about right now?
You're not here to lift people's spirits or give them hugs like the royal what that horrible couple, Megan. What's her name?
The Royals.
Yeah.
Disaster tourists.
But
Megan
you gotta
Tony.
see this. This is a real thing.
This is real, Troy.
Palisades are burning bright, organ trucks nowhere inside, budget cuts, hydrants dry, no water in supply. Hearst fire, Kenneth fire, Eaton fire, please retire, climate change, Trump's reigns, the LA fires are not contained. Burn, baby, burn!
Oh God, Maxine Waters.
On the scene, rejecting almost everything. Smelt fish, droughts and wind. This is all Trump's fault again. Transgenders fighting fires. DEI, that's not satire. Forest dry, flames are high. California, say goodbye. I didn't start the fire. No, I didn't light it and refuse to fight it. I didn't start the fire. That's misinformation. Get an education.
Oh, dude. Oh, that's good. That is good.
Yeah. Who did that? Who did
that? Guy on X. I'll find
man, did you guys see that Instagram feed of the girl screaming in her car when Trump won and losing her shit, and some guy turned it into
Which one? They're like,
there were so
hundreds.
It was the best.
I know the guy who turned it into the national anthem. That would be Perry Chan. That would be Perry Chan.
God. That guy's a genius then. I laughed my ass off. You know, if you guys can play stuff, have you guys ever seen Shane Gillis's Trump speed dating?
No.
Oh, we have to. See if you
Okay.
can find it. We have to. It's only a couple minutes.
Absolutely.
Legally, if we can show it.
funny.
We can always cut it out later. But
Right. Okay. It's
for the
all
live
shame.
audience, for you live audience out there.
Exactly.
He's one of my favorite comedians coming up right now, and he does a great Trump. And I saw this skit, and it made me laugh so hard I pissed myself. And I searched all over the internet, and he's only done the one.
Is this on Gilly and Keeves?
Yep, Gilly and Keeves. Trump speed dating.
I have not seen this. I want to see this. Shane Gillis is one of the best out there. There's Tony Hinchcliffe, Shane Gillis, our boy Kurt Metzger. There's a good group of comedians who will never get a sitcom.
Yeah, well,
maybe
Tony,
Shane Gillis will. But.
Tony from Kill Tony, dude. I think he helped Trump get elected with that whole garbage.
Dude, for one, yes, him going to a political rally and not being politically correct at all, like to where even some of the Republicans were like clutching their pearls over it. It's like, shut the fuck up. That's the cultural shift that we're looking for. Is people like learning just to fucking laugh at that stuff? Because
how smart was it for Trump to do that shit with the garbage truck afterwards? Like he got away from it. He's like, oh, I didn't know the guy, I didn't hire him. And then he puts on the garbage thing.
All right,
watch this.
Let's watch it.
Oh my God!
Hopefully,
Welcome
X-Ray Girls.
to speed dating. Each of you is going to meet for about 3 minutes. Then you're going to hear this buzzer. Okay, and when that goes off, we're going to move to the next table. Ready to find some love? Tana.
What are you doing here?
I was asked to speak at this hotel. It turns out there's some type of pussy banquet going on.
Fuck you, you fucking piece of shit, ugly, fat, orange fuck. Social media. They had to take it away. I was too good. In fact, go ahead, put it back up. Put it back up. People say I've got bad makeup. Tana looks like someone painted her face like a clown. That's what we're gonna call her. Tana, it the clown. She looks like him. She looks like she should be in a sewer, bothering children.
You are utterly disgusting.
I'm disgusting. I saw you walk in. I said, "Who's this? Is this a pig?" I didn't know they were letting pigs in.
You are a dictator.
Old sage, what a loser. What a loser she was. Somebody needs to tell her that her pussy stinks. When you walk in, I can practically smell you. Your vagina stinks. Smell up the
What?
whole room.
No one here is gonna go on a date with you.
There'll be no problem there. I'll get a date. There's going to be so many dates. People, whoa, this guy has so many dates. You, none. I don't even need a date, but I'll get a date if I want a date. You can go on Tinder. Have you heard of this? There's Tinder. You go beep, boop, pop, and there's pussy.
This is pretty exciting. I've never been on a date with a white guy before.
Hit the buzzer.
I mean, I'm just wondering what it would be like with something a little smaller.
Let me stop you there, Lane.
I don't know who sat in this chair before me, but it stinks.
I told her.
Any interest?
You're gay.
Hey, blame the dairy industry.
I would never suck a guy's dick. But if I did, it'd be one of the best sucks he's ever had. A few years ago, women would have the flat butts. Not you. You've got a very nice one.
Thank you.
You know, I polled very well with the blacks. How am I polling with you? I saw you come in. I said, that's the one. The belle of the ball. You're the prettiest one.
I'm going to be completely honest with you here. I'm not that interested in
You're the ugliest. So do me a favor. Could you take your gigantic perfect tits and leave? I'm not saying I would get a date here, but if I did say that, maybe I will.
Oh my God.
Hello. Oh my God.
Do you like my shirt? I got a special at the tackle shop. There's a 2-for-1 at the tackle shop, the bait and tackle. I can get you one. It's 2 for 1.
Wow.
How are you, Mr. President?
Well,
I'm great, especially since you exposed all the Jews that were putting 5G in my brain that wanted the meth.
How are you at oral sex?
Pretty good, to be honest. My teeth come out.
Siobhan,
Oh my God.
how would you like to go on a date?
Yes. Finally. Oh my God, I won. Did I win?
I got head.
Yeah. Dude,
Oh my
that had me
God.
laughing so much, and that was the only one he did. I got so pissed off. I wrote 2 more Trump skits for him.
Oh,
I
dude.
did. I got to figure out a way to get him to him, but we need more Trump skits.
Obviously, he's watching.
Gillis.
They all watch. Everybody
All right,
watches.
good.
Shay,
Gillis.
buddy.
Reach out.
Yeah. That's fucking great. I'd never seen that. Oh, so you want to hang on. Let me check. Do we have questions for our guests? Oh, yeah. No, you took my question, FD Link for $1.99. Will there be a 4K Boondock Saints?
Oh yeah, making them both the first discs 4K.
Yeah.
No, I think that
And 2.
I can't say yes, 1 and 2, but maybe. Like a lot of fans have been asking about that. I think that right now 3. We should probably get into this. But
yeah.
3. I would say when they make 3, they'll probably. It's kind of in their hands now, but they'll probably do a 3-disc set. This is something that's kind of, once you get to 3, they sell them all and do a 4K. That's what I'm thinking. But yeah, pure speculation. I don't know, because we sort of have to kind of, I guess, tell this story. But I basically gave control of Boondock Saints to Thunder Road. These are the action, masters, franchise masters of Hollywood. They did John Wick and Sicario and some of my favorite action brands. So, them and sort of Norman Reedus are in control of it, and they are going to go do 3. They've got my script. They're going to find a director. They're kind of taking my script and putting the Thunder Road sauce on it now. So it's kind of all up to them. I hope they do great with it, man. We'll see. But I'm kind of out of there doing new things now,
Yeah, I heard you tell the story. So yes, we are getting a Boondock Saints 3, but it won't be directed by Troy. Troy,
No.
so you were kind of you were going back and forth at the time. And I saw this on Chris Gore's interview about possibly doing a series, and a movie, and you were kind of negotiating both at the same time.
Oh, dude, that's a story. All right. Sit back, sit back, because this is a good one. As I'm negotiating the deal with Thunder Road, right, and it's not exactly. When you get in negotiations, there can be some pretty bad feelings and stuff. And we won't do this. No, what? I own the rights. Fuck you. Lawyers going back and forth and back and forth. At the exact same time, a buddy of mine, I'm going to have him on my podcast. Really talented, excellent producers. Like, we got to do the pitch for the Boondock Saints television series. So I'm like, my first thought is, oh, great. That way, if, Boondock can go live in this movie world on its own, and these other guys can do it, because frankly, Boondock, dealing with Boondock, which I have for 25 years, can be like dealing with a cornered fucking animal. And that's a whole nother story. So he's like, let's pitch Universal Television on the TV, on the television, the TV series for Boondock Saints, which I had been working on for about 10 years. So we did, or I pitched it to and they were like, "Yup, we're in." And that's not like the usual deal right these days. Is you go to a content creator, these huge companies, and then you have to pitch it to them, convince them. Then they take you in, and you start pitching all the broadcasters, right? The streamers and the pay cable and all that, HBOs of the world. But we did it all in one shot. He was the vice president of a very big content provider, and the content provider was like on board. Yes, Boondock Saints TV series, that's all I need to hear. So my only pitch really was to Universal, and they were like, yeah. So I'm negotiating this over here thinking, great, these guys can go take it into the movie world, because that can live on and on. The Thunder Road wants to do 3, 4, and 5, and I can go do this brand new Boondock Saints, a television series. I mean, if you think about it, Boondock, it may be a cult classic. It may, continue to sell and sell and sell, because that's what cult classics do. But technically, the fans in 25 years have gotten less than 4 hours of entertainment. You got 2 movies, but with a TV series, I mean, that's like 12 hours, one season, right? So I'm all excited. And so I've got this deal going over here. This deal going over here means I can do, because I'm having nothing to do with this besides I've written the script and I'm producing, whatever the fuck that means these days. But over here, I'm heading up a writer's table in LA. I'm directing some of the episodes. I'm working with a showrunner that did huge fucking, TV series. So I'm like on top of the world. And it gets to a point where we're negotiating, where the lawyers said, we have to inform both sides that this is happening, because I'm negotiating in silence. I'm not telling any of them what's happening. It's just, by the way, it's my same law firm. And like every time they had to get on the phone with those guys, I was like, don't fucking say anything.
Yeah.
Lip sync ships. So when it happens, both sides, movie says you got to give up the TV deal. TV says you got to give up the movie deal. And I'm like, wait a minute, these are not in competition. The movies have already been established. The actors that play those roles, that can go on its own story forever. This is a completely new story that takes place in the present day of 2 young brothers coming over from Ireland, Connor and Murphy McManus, doing their thing. In today's world, it's a completely different thing. It's a contemporary Boondock story, and you'll get, won't these 2 things fuel each other? I'm trying to convince people, but these were like, especially Universal. Universal's the oldest television studio. They're not going to break their business model for me, even though it was entirely rational. And my producer buddy told me that this one day. He was like, look, you're right, and they know you're right, and they're not going to do it anyway. You got to play ball, which it's just the suckiest. So I looked at here's the worst 2 weeks of my life, because I got Sophie's choice to make, right? I either go with the movies or I go with television. But over here, yeah, it's a truckload of money, you know, and I don't have to do anything anymore. Over here, though, that's a whole new Boondock world I can open up to the fan base and give them a lot more bang for their buck every season, right? And what helped me make the decision was one of the very first lessons I learned in the movie business, which is if you are lucky enough to have a fan base, you do what they want 100% of the time or you're fucked. And what my fan base wants are those two boys in pea coats killing bad guys. So I had to bottom line it like that. And after all that, I totally did the wrong thing. I should have done the fucking TV show.
Have you thought about making it recasting with two women?
Yes.
Calling it Boondock Angels.
Yes.
Would be better. Would be better.
And
two
make
trans
it super
men.
woke.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
Two
Well, I mean,
biological
Willem
women
Dafoe's
acting it.
character. Willem Dafoe's. Gay.
Yeah. People don't give me enough credit. I was LGBT before LGBT was cool. Actually, I was LGB. You know,
LGB. Yeah,
gay character. Like I started a gay character who wasn't that stereotypical gay. Oh, wait a minute, I was T2. He dressed as a chick. Boom.
Yep. There you go.
Oh,
that's right. And I love that scene where Defoe's in there. The guy wants to cuddle. He's like, "Get the fuck away from me."
The line is better than that, Gary.
Yeah, I know.
You know what the line is.
It's so good.
all right. So to kind of put a button on that story, guys, that was that moment, because you see these people that make huge fucking mistakes, and you wonder sometimes how, like, what was it in the pinch of the moment when they decided to do The Last Jedi that way, right? What was it in the pinch of the moment that made everybody go, yeah, that's the right thing to do? Because it came down to one guy. One guy made that decision, right? I was the guy and I've always been compared to Lucas because I got the merchandising rights for Boondock 1 when nobody thought they'd be valuable, right? They're like, yeah, you got a $6 million film. Somebody's going to buy your fucking T-shirt. Good luck with that.
Oh, wow. So a lot of fucking T-shirts, action figures, comic books.
I saw you wearing one on Piers the other day.
Yes.
Dude, it's funny. I watched that whole interview, and then I called up my buddy Gordo, and I'm like, you got to check it out. And he's like, he's wearing the Boondock Saints T-shirt. And I'm all fucking what? And I couldn't believe it. And here's a fun story, dude. I still can't believe this. We'll tell the story of how this took so long because that's fucking hilarious. But on the night Mel and X hit me up with a email, this is only like 5-6 days ago. They were like, yeah, love to have you on the podcast. And I had given up. I was like, I'm not gonna. Obviously, my letter had an undesirable effect. So I'm boning up on you, and I'm like, what's his latest podcast? And again, you're wearing the Boondock Saints shirt, right? And I'm like, yeah. So I'm going to bed, and I do this thing where I put my TV on put my computer on the nightstand and listen to a podcast because I think I can learn by osmosis while I'm sleeping, right? And I wake up to this, Troy Duffy. And I literally think there's someone in my fucking house. I flip over, and it's you. And you're talking about, we're going to have this asshole on the podcast. And I was, dude, it was one of those moments where I was just like, oh, thank God. Oh, thank God. But then I was like, oh, this is good. That's why I was so excited. Gore, tell the story about how we even got here.
I don't remember, to be honest. Like what
you were the
happened?
one that said you got to do it.
Yeah, I was busting your balls. I'm like, come on, you got to do one. You did my show. It's like you're very effortless. You give it a topic and you go off, which I love.
Yeah.
But also, like, I know Gary's been a fan, like a super fan. Like, do they make 1/6 scale figures from Boondock Saints?
They make custom ones.
They make
yeah.
They make the big ones, and they make the little ones.
Yeah.
So I thought you got to do, because also Gary has the reach, and like, look, there's not everybody is crazy who's making movies, there are smart people. They're just not speaking out. That's why I think you being here, that it makes a lot of sense. You see how, I showed that graphic earlier of all the movies from 1999. Not a single one of those is woke. They're just good movies. I mean, very different on what the message is, but they were really good, solid films. Not trying to hammer or dictate or, give you ideology. It's just, good films. And so how did that just go away in 20 years? It just evaporated into nonsense where half the country says, nah, I'm good. I don't need Disney shit. And even when they put out a good Star Wars Disney thing, nobody cares. Nobody cares. I mean, you've seen the ratings, Gary, less than The Acolyte. Yeah. It's not as bad as The Acolyte. Just the brands, they've taken the greatest IP, the greatest, everything from Ghostbusters to Terminator to Marvel to all of these, and they've run them into the ground, like tanking the business. So, I mean, this is a daily conversation, but why is it not, like you said, with Top Gun Maverick? Get everybody in the room. Here's what we're doing. Make stuff everyone can get behind. Like I miss seeing like normal bad movies. Like just like you know what I mean? Like a normal bad, like the movie's bad just because it's bad, not because it's woke. Like like I hope to get to that one soon. Well, but the
thing with Maverick is it was timing for one. That did help the movie. But if you go back and because I've rewatched it a lot, it's a very well put together movie that should have been nominated for Best Picture and won. Like it's phenomenal. The fact that they can, and you can compare it to the first Top Gun and say it's just as good, like easily, if not a little better.
Yeah.
Yes, the memo should have gone down. People, we got a new memo here. People like good movies now. We should make good movies. What do you think?
Good movies again.
Yeah, and it was. I remember some of the critics were like, "Oh, it's jingoistic," and nobody gave a fuck. And it was right after COVID or during COVID, if depending on what state you were in, and it just blew everything away. Even if they wanted to change, Troy, you know how slow change comes, but we should have started seeing some of that already. It's been a couple years now, so we can't use that excuse.
Now I think I'm keeping my fingers crossed because now I think something has to give. I mean,
yes,
it's almost like if you watched California over the last 4 years, boom, COVID, lockdowns, homelessness exploded. I thought, okay, now they're going to start, putting some people that are competent in there. Then boom, they legalize crime. We lose San Francisco. It turns into an actual shithole, and flash mob robberies, draining, just showing up and stealing everything. This is the moment where Californians are finally going to start putting competent people in here. Never happened. Now wildfires in the middle of, Pacific Palisades, which is basically, I firmly believe that most of America is just figuring out what Pacific Palisades. This is the first time they've heard of it. And it was like, I've been up to a few of the places. I was a behind the scenes guy. I had to, get money from these are the power brokers whose names you don't know. The president of industries, the heads of studios, massive entertainment lawyers, right? And when you drive into this place, it's like LA's version of Hogwarts. It is noticeably storybook. And I went to Arnold Rifkin's house. One of the guys I have to thank for getting Boondock made. He was the president of William Morris. I go up to his place, and I drove my motor. I'm a biker, so I drove my motorcycle everywhere in Los Angeles. Go up, his fucking like this gate just kind of magically opens. It's not like hey, yeah, it's Duffy. His camera kind of went beep, and the gate opens, and I just drove up, parked my bike. And his front door was like the entrance to some Hobbit thing. And it kind of opens like in the middle. And he comes walking out. And these two twin Rottweilers come flying at me, right? And I had just parked my bike. I jumped back up on top of it. I'm like, whoa, whoa, whoa. And Arnold's like, Scheiße. And the dogs stop. Right? He's like 60 feet away. He barely said anything. They take German commands. These dogs were like 50 grand each. They were highly trained. So he's like, let them smell you. So it did. And then he said some other, Schnauzerheisen. And I'm walking towards him, and the dogs are right beside me, and I'm like, are they fucking protecting me, or are they,
watching
making sure I'm not? Yeah. So I get inside that I had the most insane, again, Hollywood Stories by Jack Handy. I had the most insane night because I was with this guy, Andrew Vanya. You guys know does that name ring a bell? He produced every one of the most awesome action films of the 80s. All of them. He's a Hungarian guy. And he was great. He taught me how to drink port wine and smoke cigars. He's like, you dip the tip in the port wine. But Arnold had almost like a movie theater on his property. It goes way beyond a screening room. And there was a dude up there, a projectionist, projecting 35 millimeter film. He actually showed. I did one of the first thing I ever directed was a music video for my own band, and he had gotten the film somehow and projected it in front of him and his family. And I'm just in this. It's like a whole separate fucking building, So people don't understand what Pacific Palisades really is. These are the massive power brokers of Hollywood, And if you want to, we should put on our tinfoil hats for a minute.
Okay.
What do you think started these fucking fires? I'm seeing anything from directed energy to.
Well, I think was it the LA Times? There's a picture going. So let's go. Let's start with crazy.
Okay.
Directed energy beam. All right. Let's just go with that. And that was talked about in Maui. And their evidence was all the blue recycling bins survived all the things that I have not fact checked any of this. I'm just going with what I've learned on the bastion of truth known as the internet.
Yes.
But they showed a picture of an old VW bus that was that color blue. And it's right next to a blue recycling bin. Everything else is burned. These two things are completely fine. So there's something with the color.
I've heard that one too.
Oh, yeah. I think it was 180 mile an hour winds, 100 mile an hour gusts. I fought fires for a year in county jail. I fought 6 fires. They were all like brush fires. And they do crazy shit. They are really fast. They are really dangerous. And I think it's a fucking miracle. And the entirety of LA hasn't burned down because it's a wind corridor. It's in a basin. So if those winds just hit just right, what could start a fire is a piece of fucking broken glass in the sand, the sun hitting it. There's a little brush here that can start a fire. What also could start a fire? A bunch of meth hobos and illegal aliens in camps can start fires too, which is, I think, most likely the case. They think they know where it came from, but I definitely think there were copycats afterwards out there starting fires.
So.
Like 100% there were arsonists out there.
They're not. They're trying to get away from arson, man. Anybody that asks, they're just like, "Hey, shut up! We're doing a great job."
It could be arson. It could eco-terrorism. I think it's all on the table.
It could be. I mean, the fact that they all started at the same time. You seen that satellite footage?
Yeah,
they all started at exactly the same time. That's weird.
It is very weird that and I listen. I wouldn't put up beyond the realm of possibility that. Unlike Mayor Karen Bass, who was warned about these were called dangerous winds. And I remember people were clowning it on Twitter. And I'm like, oh, fuck, it's one of these big sand. So there will be a fire, 100%. There will be a fire of some kind. And I think, okay, if you're, say, this is just totally hypothetical, an eco-terrorist or just a fucking arsonist, you go, wow, these are the best conditions for my line of work.
Yep.
And you go out there and implement it for what means, I don't know, land grab just because you like it, you get off on fire. I don't fucking know. But to discount it would be irresponsible. Now, absolutely, it could have happened by accident. It could be a fucking cigarette, whatever. I think the highest likeliness is homeless camps, illegal alien camps. I grew up in Southern California. They have always been there my entire life. I remember running out as a kid, riding my BMX bike and running across a giant camp. of illegal aliens when I was 10. Perfectly nice. They waved, you know. Hey, you know, but
it's different now, dude. That homeless thing. I just went up to Oakland. I had to give a lifetime achievement award to my friend Dan Rush, who was he helped get legalized marijuana in 27 states, I think. And it was Emerald Cup. It was in Oakland, and I always go up to the Oakland, San Francisco area. I've had cause to do that many times. These encampments are it's more like a fucking amusement park at this point. There's boats, dude.
Yes, I know exactly the one you're talking about. It's abandoned, stolen cars. It's boats.
They are hauling RVs from the rec yard and parking them there.
And Oakland doesn't do anything about it. Dude, there was piracy on the fucking San Francisco Bay. Piracy!
Oh my God, really? I didn't even hear about that.
Yeah, people taking over boats with people on them.
Oh shit. All right.
Shit.
See, the homelessness, I saw fucking Gore almost popped his head off the other day when he was talking to you about the goddamn homelessness in Pasadena. You know? His face looked like a fucking stop sign with white hair sticking out the top.
Pasadena don't play, though. Pasadena, we don't have these problems. But downtown LA is a shit show.
Well,
downtown LA is a shit show.
When we were driving, I remember you're like, look at this. Look at this. We're driving around LA. Yeah. And Chris is it's the homeless industrial complex. That's exactly what it is. It's for profit. They get paid like fucking schools and prisons per head. So that's why they do a census now, and they get a certain amount, and they form these committees. And
you are shitting me.
No, it's profitable for a city. That's why there is homelessness in cities, because now you're getting paid by the federal government or by the state per head, like it's a fucking public school or a prison.
It's profitable for NGOs, non-government organizations that get the money
that are totally non-government.
Yeah,
totally.
And bribe the politicians to get funded. It's all about funding. That's why I'm so.
They're making money off.
They're making
homeless
money off
people.
Hey, all the homeless people have cell phones, you know, and they're all provided these services, and then it's grifting off the top. Everybody's got to get paid. That's why nothing can happen cheaply. That's why you spend $1 billion and not get a train from LA to Vegas. You know, and you look at other countries. China connected their entire country. Do you know how big China is?
Pretty big.
High speed rail connected the entire country in a decade.
And we got 1,600 feet, Chris. 1,600 feet for $40 billion.
We can't build a public toilet in San Francisco for under $2 million.
And you need
bullshit.
Yeah.
Disco.
I mean, you want to get some tax money? Charge for the toilet. Well, not that they'd use it. They wouldn't use it. They go, why bother?
It's sickening. It's sickening what's happened to
California. But I mean, I don't even know how do they plan. They proved they could do it. There was that time she came and they cleaned out San Francisco.
Yeah.
Made them all go away for a couple of days, then right back.
To it. Because it's for profit. It is completely corrupt. It's a corrupt state. And I'm hearing Megyn Kelly was talking anecdotally about one of her friends who's the wokest of the woke from Pacific Palisades, who's like, I'm gonna vote Republican now. Oh, you're gonna do it now? You're gonna like vote for an alternative, whether it's whatever the fuck it is, you're gonna do it now after COVID, after Gavin Newsom. Somebody listed the major politicians and how long they've been in office in California, and I think the shortest amount of time was 21 years. 21 years. Gavin, from mayor to San Francisco to now, has been around for 22, 23 years in an elected public office. This fucker in San Francisco, you know why the homelessness got bad in the first place? He was giving them cash. He was like, oh, if you're on the street, I think it was once every 2 weeks, once a month. Correct me if I'm wrong in the chat. It was $400 cash. So they gave him cash.
I mean, what the hell incentive do you? You know what? Did you guys ever see that? It's Adam Carolla.
Oh,
and when he interviewed Newsom and
yes,
that was great.
Oh, dude, that is the stuff of legend. He turned him into a new coat of red paint on the inside. That was more than just destruction. That was a fucking crime scene. And do you remember that after that, no high-ranking liberal would talk to anybody that was even center or center-right podcast. And then after that, it was guys like Prager and Carolla and Dave Rubin all offered like 50 grand for any of them to come in on their show and just stick up for their side of shit. And they didn't, that nobody took them up on it. And I think it was because Carolla, really, really, knocked that one out of the park. And then it came to a fruition. Did you guys see how Joe Rogan offered that doctor that was wrong about everything on TV $1 million bucks?
Yeah.
And they wouldn't go on. You notice, aside from the debate with DeSantis, Gavin Newsom doesn't debate people. He never did a fucking debate. Chris is going to be right back, but X-Ray Girl.
Local, I'll be listening, but local media in LA, because I live here, they are the worst. They never question the politicians. Not Karen Bass. I watched the Rick Caruso Karen Bass debate, the mayoral debate. She's a moron.
Yes.
She is a moron.
I got to check that out.
Kamala level dim. That's how bad she is. And I was like, we're obviously going to vote for. And Rick Caruso was winning the night of the election. And then the morning
3 a.m. Dallas.
Why do you think it's not one of the local media, whether it's the LA Times, they never question the Dems ever. It sucks. Just have the conversation. Just talk to each other. The fact that Carolla, a comedian, is one of the guys who's actually only holding him to task. It sucks. Where is the media? Where is the fourth estate? The fourth estate is a tool of the state. That's where we are. We need the Boondock Saints. We need the Boondock Saints in California.
Every major city needs a Boondock Saints.
Here in modern day.
X-Ray Girl, please share this clip. Share this clip of Adam Carolla going around today. I put it in the private chat. X-Ray Girl, this one's pretty good. It's a little rough, but if you live in hey, we don't want anybody's house to burn down. We're not down with any of that, but what he's saying here is not wrong.
So the National Guard has pulled in. And the National Guard has pulled in because there have been lots of stories about lots of looting because we live in Sodom and Gomorrah times here in Los Angeles. We are so bad that after we mismanage the fires, then all the human beings that are criminals that are running around the streets who are tired of doing street takeovers and tired of pulling copper wiring out of street lights now have mobilized, and they're tired of looting the CVS and the drugstores and the Gucci purse shop and everything else. They're bored. They've now taken to looting because people are being removed from their parking lots, or I should say being removed from their neighborhoods and transported places. And so the neighborhoods are empty, and now the looters have moved in. So we've called the National Guard, and the fine people of Santa Monica and Malibu and the Palisades are very happy that the National Guard is now here protecting their homes and their valuables and their property and stopping arsonists who are copycat arsonists who are starting and trying to light more fires and being successful. So the people of Santa Monica, people of Palisades, people of Malibu are happy to see the National Guard. But when BLM was burning everything to the fucking ground in Seattle and in Chicago and in Portland, you pussies were against the National Guard being called in because it wasn't your shit that was on fire, and it wasn't your store that was being looted, and it wasn't your house that was being looted. That was somebody else's. So during the entire BLM riots, when everything was being burnt in the ground, well, those were just business owners who may have lived in the Portland area, so they can fuck off because you're too busy virtue signaling and taking a stand. And God forbid Trump suggests that the National Guard be called into these cities. You were dead set against it, citizens of Santa Monica, because you're so much better than we are. But now that it's your shit that's getting looted, well, now you're happy to see the boys in uniforms. That are cordoned off your neighborhood with your precious shit in it that you don't want to see stolen or burned to the ground. You didn't give a fuck when this was going on in every blue city in the United States. You were all against it. Well, now it's your city and you love it. So think about that, you fucking hypocrites.
Oh man, I love him. You know, there's this thing. What do you think about this recall election? You remember Larry Elder ran.
Yep.
And one of the parts of his platform, which is not so sexy, wasn't sexy back then, which was filling up all our reservoirs with water and forest policy and clearing it all out. He even talked about how all the insurance companies pulling out should be the canary in the coal mine. This is going to happen, right? And they didn't. I wonder how those people feel now. How sexy is it now, by the way? How you like me now?
I would love, and I'm sure there's some, I would love for people to come around and go, damn it, we fucked up. I'm guessing most of them are so deranged with in this cult of absolute extreme leftism, whatever the fuck you want to call it, that they'll vote for Gavin and Karen. If they could vote for Gavin, they would.
They do it today.
Gavin is, I think this is the most hated he's ever been, but a close second, 1B, would be during COVID.
Yep.
I did anecdotally, of course, I didn't know anybody who fucking liked him. Even in San Francisco, I knew people who didn't fucking like him. I never people go, oh, he's so great. Now I've heard it go, Daddy Gavin and handsome, but that came from fucking Hollywood. And he won in a landslide in his recall. Again, no voter ID, mail-in ballots. That's why he won. And
I voted for the recall. And
so did
every
I.
one of my friends voted for the recall.
I was there at the time.
Very
right before I left.
suspicious. Very suspicious. I don't know.
So when you guys are saying this 3 a.m. dump thing, this is a new one to me. Explain that to me. What is that?
So the 3 a.m. dump comes from Trump's 2020 presidential election, where he was leading in the polls. He was up, and the trajectory was he was going to win. And everybody woke up the next day, and there was a little spike. That. There was a spike. So that's where the 3 a.m. dump comes. Of the smoothest election ever run, Troy. Joe Biden got 81 million votes, the most popular president of all fucking time. Joe fucking Biden, who nobody respected before that. Whatever. So, things, the universe tends to unfold as it should. I said at the time, it's like, let's everybody experience. And if we survive a Joe Biden presidency, let's see what fucking happens. Now we saw what happened. Same thing happened with Karen Bass. So Rick Caruso's, it was a closer lead, but he was leading. And then she ran away with it in the middle of the night.
Dude, I lived in LA for 30 years. And at that point, during the 2020 election, I was getting divorced. So I moved, I decided to treat myself to, it was a miserable. I don't recommend it for anybody getting divorced.
No,
but I decided to treat myself to the Dan Tana bachelor pad I always wanted. And so I got this really cool apartment just a block off Colorado in Pasadena, where I always wanted to live.
I know where that is.
Yeah, and
so does Chris.
and the election time comes around. I get 5 ballots from people that used to live in the apartment I'm in, and I'm holding them, and I'm like,
same. So I've gotten the piles of ballots sent. Yeah.
And I'm talking to other people, other friends in the building too. One dude got 10 ballots, and I'm holding them like, is this a trick? Am I on camera? Are they going to come flying through the door? Put the goddamn, So I was like, what the fuck? They were being sent to everyone. And I thought to myself, how does that even happen?
So
how does that even occur? And I don't know if you guys ever read it. I'm into reading studies now. It's pretty eye-opening. France and Germany both did mail-in ballots in the same year. They found so much fraud that they had to suffer the cost of redoing their entire elections, and they both outlawed mail-in ballots from that time forward. And that was well before our shit. So already I was like, is this a great idea? I mean, people are going outside just wearing masks. Why do we have to do this shit?
So they can cheat. I mean, that's the easiest answer. And the reason I a channel I could recommend to everyone. He was just on Friday Night Tights. Razor Fist, the Rageaholic, has talked about in a video where you have to, for those mail-in ballots, they have to go to people. Whether they're alive or not, that might be questionable. But what they did in San Diego, we did get multiple ballots too. We were renting a house while we were moving, and we got ballots for everybody who ever lived there. That's what it was. Everybody who ever lived at that address. And they had to know. So they just started blanketly throwing out ballots. And yes, there's plausible deniability of incompetence, which probably plays into it. But my opinion is the deep state uses incompetence to its advantage. And the system, whatever we want to fucking call it. I call it the deep state because that's what
I totally was blown away by that number, though. 81 million people voting for this guy. And that remember the 2-week process of counting the votes in the cities in Philadelphia? It's more populated with this and that. I remember watching that and going, what the hell's going on? I'm like, am I the only one seeing this?
No, because it was never a problem in the past when there wasn't an internet and people actually had to hand count stuff. And we remember the hanging Chad stuff from
which seemed to work just great. So hey, you turned me on to Landman.
Yeah.
Boy, do I love that. I want to return the favor. Have you seen American Primeval yet?
I have not. My wife saw it and said I need to watch it. So I am on that this week.
Netflix. What did you like about Landman?
Billy Bob Thornton running around being fucking based for an entire season, giving based lectures to the lawyer. She was just like the butt of jokes, especially the last one. Dude, I just watched the finale last night. Hour and 20 minutes long. It was fucking great. It was great.
I still haven't seen that. Don't ruin it for me. But I love that opening scene where they had him tied to the chair with the bag over his head, and he just totally laid it out for the dude.
Yeah.
He's like, yeah, oil companies don't die. Guys like you and me do. They're just going to kill everyone. They don't even care. He took away all of his ammo right there. The guy's like, I'm going to cut your tongue out and kill you. Go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead.
The disappear in the mist. Poof.
Yeah, we are a bigger gang than you. We are oil.
The thing is, let's talk actors, because Billy Bob Thornton is just one of my favorite. I loved him in Giant. I loved him in Sling Blade when we first. I just believe that guy in everything he did, even Bad Santa,
Bad News Bears.
Yep, love him in everything. I don't even know that there's an actor like that I can point. You can always kind of point to a bad movie or a bad performance, but I can't with him. It's like everything he's in, everything he does just ends up being gold.
No, he's one of those rare naturals. And back in the day, we're like, how in the hell did that guy pull Angelina Jolie? And now you understand a little bit. You understand? And I love that he's ripping heaters throughout that. Smoking is back on TV. No. Landman was, I would definitely consider it a normie show, but it definitely goes against the grain for everything else. And it was a total surprise and turned out to be one of the best shows I've seen this year.
That's Sheridan. Every freaking great show is Taylor Sheridan.
Yeah, Taylor Sheridan. He's a bit of a machine.
Dude, 3 times I've gone who did this? And
watch him on Rogan. There's a great interview with him on Rogan. That was awesome, dude. A 3-hour great conversation.
He brings up critics. He brings up, something the LA Times recently admitted to, but he's like, listen, we all know, and I'm paraphrasing what he said. Everybody hates my stuff and it's political, and they like stuff that's bad because it agrees with their politics. And the LA Times, not the LA Times, sorry, the New York Times. The New York Times recently, I did a video on it, recently came out and had this line that was just the end of a thesis almost over the last few years, which is, they were calling out woke Hollywood, and they go, well, at least now we don't have to pretend to like movies that agree with our politics. Straight up fucking said it. I'm like, thanks.
Good. Yeah. Oh God. All right. I love that guy. He even I watched this thing called Lioness. You seen this one?
I haven't seen Lioness yet.
It's good. I didn't think it was possible. You know, it's like to everybody listening right now. Guess what? Chicks don't have a karate fight with 10 guys and win. That's never happened throughout the course of human events.
Yes.
I mean, but you can kind of go on your Instagram feed one night and see some semi-drunk dude waddling home from a bar, get attacked by 5 dudes and put them all on the fucking ground. It happens sometimes with men, right? Yeah. What he did was realize that while doing a thing where the female lead was the badass, because it's very difficult to pull off. And he gave her just enough, like, home stuff with the kids and the husband. He chose the right actress for this. She was fantastic. And Lioness is something I would recommend. But American Primeval, what was that movie where Leo DiCaprio gets mauled by the bear?
Revenant.
It's like that, dude. The whole series is like that.
Oh, hell yeah. Okay.
It's fantastically violent in very unique ways, but all like in the old West and Indians. And, this one guy gets fucking scalped slowly. It's just, oh, God. I love it when they just get into me like that.
You sold me on getting scalped slowly.
Also, Gangs of London is pretty good, too. That's kind of like a modern day ass kicker.
I haven't even heard of Gangs of London. Chris? No? You're muted. It's okay.
Oh, man, it's good. You just don't
know.
I have not heard of it. No. Sorry.
Gangs of London. Excellent. Let's get to some questions, shall we? So we don't keep Troy here all day.
No, keep me here all day. Let me take a quick I got to hit the head real quick.
Take a leak. It's all good. Hey, everybody, thank you for being here. Hope you enjoyed the show. I normally don't do interviews because quite frankly, I think most interviews with directors and stuff are kind of boring, but not Troy. Not Troy. Troy is the exception. He can hang. So I love that. And I think actors and directors need, like, Josh Brolin's interview with Joe Rogan was so fucking good. Was so good.
Yeah.
That's what. Fuck press junkets. Hollywood, I know you're listening all the time. Get rid of the press junket. Just get rid of.
They don't work.
They don't fucking work. They're only.
The format doesn't work. It's flawed.
Bruce telling me to shut up right now. He's like, I need the clips, and so do I, bro. But yeah, go on. Sorry, Chris.
But also, like, I've seen those. They're on other channels that are way bigger than mine. 500,000, 300,000. These interviews on these junket interviews, they get 12 views on channels with 300,000 subs. It's over. That format is over. It's like the sitcom format, with the canned laugh track. Post The Office on NBC. You can't do that anymore.
No.
Audiences, it still exists, but it's archaic. That sitcom format, 3 camera, laugh track, fake. People don't like it. It's fake. They like The Office, Parks and Rec. And you know what? It will evolve into something else. But today, long form interviews, Trump on Rogan, Taylor Sheridan on Rogan. You can have a nuanced conversation, but we've discovered some people, Kamala, others, can't do a long conversation because they're hollow and they have no values. When I don't need, people say, you're going to prep for this. I don't need to prep. I get the basics. I don't need to prep. You know why I don't need to prep? I'm interested in the subject matter. I'm curious. I'm not smart. I want to ask questions. I'm curious, right? So that's what Rogan is not a genius. He's very curious. He's open-minded. He actually is pretty smart. Let me give him credit.
Dude, yeah.
Yeah.
Smart dude. But he's smart enough to know he doesn't know everything. Unlike our fucking politicians in California.
Okay, time out. I got a big point to make here. That's one of the best things about some of the best podcasters. When new information comes up that's true, they change their fucking opinion. I've seen Rogan do it a bunch of times, and every time I'm like, oh, hell yeah. The last time he did it, I think, was on this, there's some kind of Pakistani interbreeding thing. So he had some. He's like, what are you talking about? They literally pulled up the medical study. And he's like, holy shit, it's true. You know?
Yes. Yes.
And I got sidetracked. I wanted to ask you guys a question. If we're gonna do a Q&A, let's start out with me Q&Aing you.
Okay.
Because I have a tinfoil hat conspiracy theory when it comes to arson related for these fires. What do you think if the uber Hollywood power broker elite knew that it was arson right now in the Palisades, what would their reaction be?
Oh, recall Karen Bass. They do have the new DA who's like actually prosecuting people. They took care of that because they had Gascon or whatever his name was, who wasn't doing shit.
Gascon.
It would be a massive scandal, compounded because they can blame the arsonist, but there's still preparedness. Like you couldn't have stopped this fire. There's no way, but you could have maybe minimized it a little bit, with brush. But I think it would, if the elections were held in the next month, Gavin would probably be gone and Bass would be gone, but they're not going to be. That's the problem. But I think they would shift their thinking. I think they are anyway. But it's really hard for them to as far as the arson, and it depends on who commits the arson. What if it's an illegal alien? What?
It's been revealed that it has been.
There you go.
Alien.
Oh, okay. Well, there you go.
Look at the way that DeSantis manages a crisis in Florida. That's his jam. Like Ron DeSantis, when he's dealing with a crisis, he knows how to do it. He's not going on fucking podcasts,
I'll tell you what.
Reputation, because he doesn't need to save his reputation because he's doing the job. Compare these two governors. I keep saying, can we trade governors? Ron DeSantis knows how to manage a crisis. It's insane. So
my governor does more, and he doesn't stand for anything.
Oh no!
You're in Texas. Oh, yes. That was a good one. Ooh. I have a secret tinfoil hat conspiracy theory about that.
Okay.
If the uber elite power people of Hollywood knew that it was arson, they would never allow that to get out there. They would crush all mention of it, because imagine that. One asshole with a propane tank can take all of us out in one shot. Oh, God, it did it again.
That was dramatic, though. I liked it.
It is. It's the perfect timing.
In one shot.
Dude, I'm coming off like an actual filmmaker.
There you go. You don't need a cinematographer anymore. You just do this to your freaking camera.
Yeah, but I don't think they could have that getting out there, how vulnerable they are. And by the way, I just wanted to mention on the podcast that mentioned that I am not suicidal.
No, none of us are. Not even Chris. Not even Chris. No, there's something understandable about not wanting to get your vulnerabilities out there, but everybody knows it. Everybody who lives in Southern California knows that fire is possible. Anybody who lives near brush and has lived there for more than a year understands that, my place could go up. I should probably, and that's why property owners, especially in San Diego where I grew up, they always cleared the brush around the property. If they weren't packed in the suburbs, it was something they had to do for self-preservation. Yes, if you get this major wind warning, anytime there's Santa Ana winds, usually it's in late fall, right? Yeah. Late fall, early winter. That possibility is there. And Joe Rogan was talking about it with the firefighter. It's like, it's a miracle. It hasn't happened, but it has. San Diego was almost completely burned down a couple of times in the last 20 years.
Yep.
And San Diego's a huge area. Santa Rosa burnt down. Then there was the Oakland Hills fire from back in the day. That was horrible too. So it's out there. We need water to fight them. You need to clear the underbrush. And yes, there's a bunch of fucking psychopaths who will light fires. And there's a bunch of people living probably really close to you in Southern California. If you're listening to, there's a camp near you somewhere. If you're in the suburbs, there's absolutely a camp near you that you might not even know about.
Next question. Do you believe there's aliens? All three of you.
Yes.
Yes or no?
Yes.
Yeah. Yes.
All right. It's a foursome. All right.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Going on.
There's aliens. There's aliens, man.
Yeah. Now, where are they from? That's the question. Is it interstellar? Are they time traveling, interdimensional? Have they been here? Are they original occupants of Earth and just living below the oceans? These are the debates we have.
Are they in the center of the Earth? Are they,
Yeah.
What's going on?
Other side of the moon.
Other side of the moon.
Yeah. Oh, I've heard about that moon one. They got a base up there or some shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All
right, we're gonna do a Q&A with
we're gonna do a Q&A. Let's do it. So we'll start out with there'll be some compliments, some questions, and then calling me gay, probably.
Right.
That's my guess.
And me gay too.
Did your wife get your gift mentioning gay?
I've been texting her and she said that she can't she can't find it in the house, so it might be at the PO
box.
It's at the PO box. So she's gonna go over to the PO box. Hopefully she gets back in time.
Right.
Thank you. And yes, very gay. James Shart for $20 says, speaking of being an asshole, Larry Carrera has trolled George R. R. Martin over Martin not finishing Game of Thrones in his dedication for Larry's sixth saga, The Forgotten Warrior book, the book that completes the series. So, man, there's a lot of lore on that I'd have to fill you in on. But all the woke shit that's been happening in Hollywood has been happening in comic books and music, as you know, Troy. Every facet of entertainment, it was definitely pushed, but it hit publishing back in 2013, and there was the Sad Puppies incident, and it was over the Hugo Awards. Basically, they said that they were giving Hugo Awards to anything that agreed with one side politically. George R. R. Martin was on the other side. Neil Gaiman was on the other side, and Larry was the one who was part of the Sad Puppy thing. You can go read about it. But he trolled George R. R. Martin because, and I'm a fan, dude. But he ain't finishing Wins a Winner. So this guy finished a book series and just said, "See, George, it's not that hard." That was his dedication, which was good.
What do they want? What do they want out of Martin?
I don't know. Well, Martin really pushed against. He was for all the people who, basically, he almost got canceled too for mispronouncing a name. But basically, all the woke people who got involved in the publishing, he helped get in, and then they turned on him. Martin just hasn't finished his book in over almost 5,000 days, and fans like me have been. That's almost 5.
You've been counting.
There's been 4 presidential elections since the last book of In the Song of Ice and Fire.
What's the book? Is it another Game of Thrones?
Yeah, so it's the 5th book in the Game of Thrones series. It's going to be his biggest, and the way he set out to write it the hardest way possible. Each chapter is a perspective of a different character, and they all have to weave into each other. And his writing style is kind of make it up as I go. I don't plan anything, so makes it a little difficult.
I remember I read all the Game of Thrones books. They were excellent. That guy is a wordsmith and an amazing author. And then I watched the TV show, and that was the only time where the TV show was at the very least equal to the book. The book is always better.
Yeah,
it's always better because you can get into people say what they're thinking. But that television show was just as good as the book, and I loved it. So yeah, I mean, I hate to put more pressure on the old guy, but get that shit done.
Get that shit done, George. Or get somebody else to get it done. Angry Goat for $19.99. Hail, Troy. I love Boondock Saints. I lived in Boston for years. Love that city. And seeing Saints brings me right back. The Salt and Pepper Bridge, churches, bars, streets, and the people. The Departed tried to get Boston, but you did. There you go.
Well, I'll tell you what. Was there a question in there?
No, it's just
you just charged the guy $20 to comment.
They paid. Thank you, though.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'll tell you what. I shot the whole thing in fucking Toronto. I only got a couple of days in Boston to get all those shots he just talked about. And one of the funnier parts of it was we were the last to shoot in the Charles Street prison. Remember where Billy Connolly's character comes out and the bird cage comes down?
Yep.
That place was awesome. And then a couple of years ago, I went back. It's more than a couple of years ago. They turned it into a high-end hotel, right? That has it's the same shape. I walked through the lobby and I looked at right where we shot. That bird cage coming down. All the tiers are still there. and they got like the bar restaurants have all mug shots of the people that were arrested and incarcerated there. You know, there's a whole history with Boston. We should talk booking a little bit, guys, because these are some of the things I want to go over with you, because I sent you guys the first couple of chapters of the audio book
that you read.
We should talk about that afterwards. Let's do a couple more questions.
We'll do a couple more questions, and we'll get into the book. So, Amy Curtis for $50. Thank you very much.
Amy,
this is just a comment here. So
I feel like we should actually do something for her.
We can. Well, what would you like to do, Amy? What would you like Troy to do for you? Amy Curtis. Amy Curtis.
Right.
I was at the Trump rally in Green Bay, Wisconsin, where he drove up in the garbage truck like a boss. The arena went nuts. I have 3 sons, and the absolute vibe shift since the election gives me hope for the future. Thank you all for what you do. You guys rock. You rock, Amy.
Oh, you rock. You're right. Paid $50. Here you get an. See this fucking camera.
The camera.
It's got a mind of its own.
It's like, I don't want a white balance. I don't want a white balance. Screenshot that, Amy. Screenshot that. Oh, look at that.
For this fucking thing.
Put some digits on that too. No, don't.
Anybody that spends $50 on watching us.
One more. Krog for 50 Swedish krona says, holy crap. Hi, Troy. Fond memories of being 9 years old and watching Boondock Saints for the first time with my family on VHS when it had come out. Thank you for it, man.
Holy shit. 9?
9.
What's wrong with your parents? What's this guy's name? Sven?
This is Krog.
Krog? All right. Yeah, he probably grew up fast and sweet.
It's European. They're drinking wine at 5 years old, so it's just different.
You know what? I got a question for him. Sweden's on my like right now. There's so many. You guys are seeing all these protests in London and all these the protests and riots in the streets. It's like the French are on the verge of losing France.
Mm-hmm.
Germany's on the verge of losing Germany because of all their terrible border policy, and now they're calling for Islamic law. But in Sweden, it's almost like they don't even know that they lost their country already. It is really bad, and they're not doing much. There's not doing many stories on it. But Krog, good luck, buddy.
Hope you're okay.
Hope you're all right, man.
Maybe you'll run into our friend. I have a co-host that lives out there, Adam Krigler. All right. So you sent me some clips of your audiobook, which were quite good, including a chapter called Reverse Rape. But these are Boondock Saints audiobooks, and they are read by Troy. Tell us about them. Well, the books.
Well, yeah, I just decided, a year ago or so, we made the deal. I was like, I've been wanting to write this book forever. I was intimidated by the process because, I read all the great authors. I'm just like writing scripts is it seems a little more like a lot easier for me than writing a book. That was a big undertaking. So I decided to just throw it all against the wall and do it. So I got the book done, and we're doing the audiobook first. But the thing I love about this is again, I get to provide a lot more entertainment for fans. So let me just kind of walk you through the story. It's the only thing that's really changed is that I'm putting it in present day, right? Imagine these two brothers grew up in Ireland, and they have this rosy colored perception of life in America. The city on the hill. They want to go there. They want to get their piece of the American dream, right? So they save up and work really hard, steal into America over the Canadian border as illegals. And they come here to find what we all see today, what's happening in America today, unfairness, injustice on a massive level, right? Which provides for the boys a very target-rich environment, right? So that's why I changed it to present day. I want them walking by what we walk by on the streets seeing what we see, having to deal with what we deal with, right? And in this way, we're going to see how Connor and Murphy get lured into the world of vigilantism, and we're going to be able to go on a much deeper, broader journey with them. And it just so happens that it went to 500 pages. It's supposed to be, it's like 560 pages. They want you out at about 350. So we decided to do it in reverse, do the audiobook first, because I've been getting into audio. Do you guys listen to audiobooks?
All the
And if
time.
so, how long?
Oh, hell yeah.
All the time.
All the time.
Every
I love
day.
it. I
Every
love
day.
it. I've been
When
listening
did you
for
start doing that?
decades.
When did you start doing that?
Ooh.
Last year, maybe?
I listen to audiobooks when they came on CD.
When they came on
love
cassette. So my
cassette, yes.
my
So long
entry
ago.
was Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy.
All right, but now that audiobooks are like available and stuff on,
Yep.
on Audible and
Audible.
Spotify, they're so much more available. People, that's the highest growing market in the literary world right now. Went from 8% in 1 year to 20%. And I start getting into it. This is just probably 2 years ago for me, listening to audiobooks, but I found like the ones that are really cool. You told me about that one when we were off air, but the idea that, like, say you're listening to a book about the Irish mob, and the guy that wrote it was there and a part of it. The author saying the shit had a different experience for me, you know? I loved it. So I was like, I'll do it. There's probably a bunch of fans that will recognize my voice. But it was weird, you know? We're doing it reverse. We're going to do the audiobook first, then do a paperback and a digital book, because I want people to kind of have this experience of kind of me walking. It's almost like I get to sit down at a campfire and tell a good story to a bunch of, Boy Scouts or whatever. Well, you know what? Girl Scouts. Let's go. The boy and Girl Scouts. I don't need any of your fucking judgment.
There's jokes there. I'm holding back.
Also, X, I think did we send you a quick picture of the book cover? We just did some book cover title artwork. Pop that up if you can. But the idea here is this download is going to be a double download. It's like 20 hours to get through this. So I have I have a request.
That's awesome. What's
Thank
the
you.
request, sir?
My boy Sammy Mack and T Munn did a good job on that.
I love it.
Yeah, that's nice. That's nice. Fucking bullets and pennies and shit.
Hell yeah.
This is the first time I'm seeing it up close. The thing is, I have a lot of characters in here, and I would like some of my friends to play some of the other characters. Now, there's everything from just little 3 lines here and 5 lines there, but I'd be honored if you guys would consider doing a voice.
Oh, hell yes. Hell yeah. Chris will do it.
You're on mute, Chris.
Sorry about that. The construction here. So,
can you do a voice
that's
for me?
Awesome. That's awesome. Yeah, hell yeah.
Great.
Yeah,
absolutely. Thank you.
I like that.
Be an
Different
honor.
voices. I love that.
I love hearing different voices. I also love the idea of just me being able to listen to it and having my friend or my dad, my little brother's going to do one, and people I know that are cool. And Beekler, I got one for you already. It's a totally movie-related nerd thing.
Oh, good.
I'll send you the words and the chapter it's in. You guys can just record it on your own stuff. Send me out. My guy will drop it right in, man.
Oh, brilliant. That'll give me practice for. Well, we're talking about your book.
You got one coming up, Gary.
Yeah, you do,
We'll talk
Gary.
about Troy's book, but yeah.
Oh, you got a book coming up?
Oh,
I do.
Come on, talk about it.
Let me hit me.
Okay. Real quick.
Is
I'm
this
doing
your first book?
This is my first and probably only book ever, and it's Chris talked me into it. It's something my sponsor was trying to talk me into too, back in the day. So it's a memoir, kind of like my journey of recovery, because I went from being like a suburban kid to homeless, drug addict, dealing as a teenager, cooking meth as a teenager, went to prison, got out, kind of put my life together, then fell back off the wagon, and then got it back together again. It's kind of like, it's just the journey of recovery. It's some YouTube stuff at the end, but it's mostly.
So is it like it's an autobiography?
Yeah, it's basically my when I speak, it's my story of experience, strength, and hope. Just kind of what I went through in recovery. And
you know what? I was watching your podcast the other day, and you said something along the lines of like being truthful or real or genuine. What did you say? Like it was the new black. Authenticity. And it hit me right there. Even the podcasts that I like, those guys just can't help but be authentic. I didn't have any idea that any of that shit happened to you, man. You know?
Yeah, it happened so long ago. And I never bring it up, right? Chats. I love chats. Like the book's gonna be called Late and Gay. Gary's Gay Gurney. I love the chat. Yeah. I went through all that. It was it sucked. It mostly sucked, but it really set me up for life later on, and it made me appreciate things like freedom and hard work and what it's like to come out the other side, like surviving like that. Like, I flatlined a couple times from OD.
Oh my God, really?
Yeah. So it's this gift of life and how I was utterly wasting it, and really coming to terms with they use the term in the book. I don't know if I really want to use it, but trauma of my past, but and how you deal with that and how you have to forgive certain people and how especially the going through atonement part. And how you come out the other side feeling whole again, that's the whole point of this journey is to hopefully somebody will read it and maybe go to a meeting, or realize that like no matter how bad things can get, you can crawl out of it. It just takes a lot of time, a lot of hard work, and I try not to sugarcoat it like, oh, it just magically happened. No, it doesn't magically happen, and it's not perfect all the fucking time, but it's better than being homeless. And having that grading curve on life really helps me. Like if I wake up feeling down, it's become so much easier now to realize, well, fuck. I mean, like things might be bad right now. Things might be bad in the world, but holy shit, I was living under a bridge, like literally living under a bridge, living under a bush in front of a Long John Silver's. At one time, I was living in drug dens, watching the most horrible things happen. And just now I enjoy like little walks through my neighborhood. So it's getting perspective. It's like being in the now, being grateful. That's what's helped me get through life. And I'm generally pretty happy now.
What's the title of the book?
Waiting for Nerdrotic. It's a joke on this because I'm always late with live streams. So.
Wow. How long ago was this? Like, when did you stop?
Oh, so I got out of prison 30 years ago and got sober. And then I relapsed in 2011, really bad relapse. And things went like south quick.
So wait, how long were you sober before you relapsed?
It was 15 years.
Wow. What just without blowing any of the 15 years sober, that's 15, a pretty big
16.
accomplishment.
Yeah, it was. And it really, what I learned is my recovery wasn't good. I stopped going to meetings. My sponsor had committed suicide, so I never got another sponsor. And when I fell off, the term progressive disease really stuck with me because I picked up right where I left off. And
really?
And the thing
Drugs
was,
too?
and it's like I picked up new drugs. I picked up new drugs that I hadn't done before because like back in the day I never did coke. So I decided to hey, let's try this coke thing. I'm sure it's great. And this is supposed to be talking about your book. Damn it. We
have plenty of time.
Yeah. So the progressive disease part was the one that blew my mind, which is like it's you pick up where you left off, but it's like you've been using that 15 years you were sober. So you don't like start for an example. Sorry, YouTube. You don't just start out with a little bump. You go right back to the rail that that you would have been doing if you had been using for 15 minutes for years.
I'm curious now. Right? We're all bros now. I'm curious. In a nutshell, 15 years clean, then you fall off. What was essentially the reason you fell off the wagon?
There's a lot of stuff I hadn't dealt with. And it was success. So it wasn't depression. It was success.
you were
So I had a
like,
comic
"Yay."
store. And it was relatively successful. I got in my own head. My head got fucking huge. And I'm like, I'm fine now. That was basically my attitude. And then immediately, like once I started, I'm like, fuck.
Yeah.
And it was very private. Like the relapse was not like me partying with people or anything. It was me using alone and hiding it from people all the time.
Yeah,
And,
that's
and-
the bad.
And I thought I
kind.
was so clever. I was hiding, going back in the bathroom in my store every 15 minutes, and everybody fucking knew. Like, everybody knew. So, my wife threw me out of the house like she should have. And I was facing like, oh shit, I'm going to be that guy who's not raising my kids. And, I'm adopted. My dad bailed on my mom when she was 16, right? I had an adopted dad who was great. Never bailed on me. Fucking love him. Miss him to death. But I couldn't face that. I couldn't betray my kids. I couldn't betray my family. And sobriety is supposed to come first. It's supposed to be about me being sober so all these other things can work. But my motivation to get there was, I am not going to be an absentee father to my kids. Fuck no. I'd rather die. And we sold the shop for a song, and I went to sober living, and the rest is in the book. But poor Melissa went through a really fucking hard time with that. And it's been a gift, and getting back on the wagon again sucked. I had to go back to 12-hour jobs. So I was, I had already achieved, pinnacle and selling parts and stuff. I was a journeyman parts, but so I was working at dealerships. I could ask for whatever I want. I did 10 years at the comic store. We won Best of the Bay, and I was back at working O'Reilly's Auto Parts for $12 an hour. And it's just like, and I'm glad I did it. And it fucking sucked. And I was pissed the whole fucking time, but it was good. It was good to experience that and work out of it again, to understand like how precious, hard work, being, faithful to the family, liberty, actual liberty and freedom, which is something I lost. And I was dude, I had 2 felons. So like, if I got caught at any moment, I was facing a life term in prison. Like at any moment.
Term?
Yes. You get your third strike, you're out.
Just for drug felonies?
For drug felonies. And this was this was before Gascon and all those people, when they kind of went away from it. They're bringing it back, by the way. But I was facing a 3 strikes.
Well, I'll tell you what, I thank God for every bad thing that's happened to me.
Yeah.
That's how you learn. That's how you go through the crucible of life, Even things like obviously I could talk about the sort of the documentary and how bad that made me feel, and how angry that made me feel, and how wronged I was. But I thought for years, I put myself back in every little fucking situation about why it went wrong. What was I thinking in the pinch of the moment? What was happening? What wasn't I seeing? Learning from your mistakes is about the most valuable thing that a man has to make himself into a better one.
Well, it's learning. You need your pain, like Kirk. Captain Kirk says, "I need my pain." You need your pain. You do. You learn from it, and you don't repeat those mistakes. And thankfully, if you don't horribly hurt somebody, which a complete miracle that I never did that. I was never super violent or anything like that, but all mine was very internal. I did a lot of punishment to myself. Definitely hurt a lot of people. Through the journey, and had to write those letters and get rejected and been told to fuck off, and they had every right to do that to me. And coming out the other side, just going, I don't want to be that person anymore, and then really working at it and going to meetings, and the Fellowship of Recovery and AA has been it's a miracle that this program exists, that it's a nonprofit, that it's out there. It's created by a couple of God-fearing dudes back in the 30s, and it stayed around this sure, it's got its politics, but it's never really gotten bad. And honestly, with all those high-priced rehabs out there, They always have to direct you to AA at some point. It's the one thing. It doesn't work. I'd love the percentage to be higher, but it's the one thing that does consistently work.
Yeah.
And it's ultimately about personal responsibility. Like you said, it's realizing that I can blame society. I can blame all this shit. But the one thing I really had to internalize is life isn't fair and it doesn't owe me shit. It owes me a death. That's it. And that's all it owes me. And I got to go out there and like, instead of worrying about the rest of the fucking world or anything like that, you worry about your world and you try to be the best person you could be in your world. And it's not always perfect, but having that fellowship of dudes around to call you on your shit all the time and their behavior is really helpful. Really, really helpful. And I wouldn't be alive if it wasn't for him.
Nobody cares about the suffrage of men. All right. That's the tiniest violin there is. Even other dudes. You know, oh, my girlfriend. Oh, yeah. Well, why don't you squirt some tears for me, honey? You know, guys don't even really do it. But in the last bunch of years here, I've actually seen it. You know, I'm worried about the state of men and boys in this. In this country. It's the really funny thing is, I'm going to get in. This is one of the things we're going to do on my podcast, the first one. We all like to think we're above it, right? Did you guys lose any friends or family due to politics?
Yes.
Like you're not sure. Okay. A lot of people did. So I did too, but I was the guy that thought I was beyond that shit. I was aware of it. Like, I'm not going to listen to these, savage journalists telling me it's perfectly okay to just dump your friends and family if they don't think exactly like you do. And it happened. We got in a political argument, me and a friend of mine, for 30 years. And that's one of the things we're going to address. But it's amazing to me how easy it can be to forget who brought you up, who made you, who you've relied on, how much you've been through, over a bullshit political disagreement. Me and a friend of 30 years walked away from each other and lost each other for about a year and a half. And I keep asking people like you guys, and it has happened to almost all of us. So I want to kind of tell my story, eventually on my podcast of how we patched it up and help advise others on how to get it back, because that fucking sucks.
Yeah, it does.
It's like the worst. And it's so easy. It's like, what, you see it on TV? You see Don Lemon go, no, it's perfectly fine. Walk away if they yeah, you just do it. And me and this guy we've had we've been in bar fights where we both got fucking destroyed. We have done things that, and over politics, it's just like, as soon as we kind of reestablished our relationship, we both just felt stupid as fuck.
Yeah, because it is ultimately really trivial. It's politics and most of the issues that we even argue over are not going to affect our daily lives in any way, shape, or form. Me and Chris can argue all day over abortion. Neither Chris or I are going to have one. So, like, but no, that's good. But sorry, we got so sidetracked. Let's talk about your book that's coming out. You were doing the audiobook, and I've listened to the clips to reset everything, and they're awesome, by the way. Well done. You can read, unlike me. So.
Yeah. It's funny actually that's a couple months ago. I was out in LA to record that audiobook, and you find out how much you can't read. We've been reading so long silently, reading out loud is a whole different deal. Like, I got in the studio, and on day one, I'm like, this sucks. This is going to take forever. I keep screwing up, But I got my voice in there, and the audiobook is like what happened with Boondock Saints was pretty one of a kind, right? We when we first came out, like, you make your little film, and you go around to all the studio lots, and they let you screen it there. And all their buyers and employees come down to watch it, right? What happened with us was it happened right during the Columbine incident, the aftermath of that. Clinton was actually in town talking to all the studio heads about pulling films that depicted violence and video games while we were having our screenings. So we were basically told you've been blacklisted due to the Columbine incident, which we were. We were blacklisted from U.S. theater screens. We four-walled 2 places, one in L.A. and one in Waltham, Mass. ourselves, me and Blockbuster. But yeah, we couldn't be in U.S. theaters. But what happened was something very, very interesting. The fans just found it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because it didn't have a theatrical release, I don't know how well it's doing, or if anybody. Our first big release was in Blockbuster, and they gave us what was called a Blockbuster exclusive. So it's 60 to 120 copies a store, like a big movie. It was released like it was a big movie. So that's where it got its initial fan base. But it was almost like Reedus calls it a silent explosion. Nobody would know. These kids are out there just talking about themselves. Then we're walking around. You're at the gas station fueling up. Some kid rides by with your tattoo, Boondock Saints tattoo. You're at a bar. You start hearing guys reciting your lines. They had no idea who I am, And what happened with Boondock was it became the highest grossing cult classic in the last 25 years. And then sequel, same fucking thing, right? So there's all these, and it's been translated into every, like in Germany, it's called Der blutige Pfad Gottes, which means the bloody path of God. They name it something different in every fucking
I kind of
country.
like that.
Yeah. It's called Los Elegidos in South America, which means the chosen. It's called Shokainen in Japan, which means the executioners. So your shit goes all over the world, right? And what I've seen over the years is this massive fan base develop. And at first, I just kind of didn't understand it. I thought to myself, yeah, kind of good action movies, got some funny moments. What people take away from this is on a much deeper level. They just love these characters. They love Connor and Murphy and Rocco. And they just love these characters. So doing a book and being able to dive into them and adding new ones, it's allowing my creative nature as it relates to Boondock to just fucking explode, And in terms of the fans of this movie, let me just tell you about some odd things that have happened over the decades. First off, there's Boondock Saints themed bars in the world. There's a place called the Boondock Saint. Is there a Boondock bar on Red Square in Moscow, Russia, and they have gone so nuts in there that they have recreated the gun room in Boondock out of decommissioned actual Soviet firearms, machine gun and all. They put these glass counters on that had all the dead Russians that Connor Murphy killed in the Russian suite laser etched inside the glass with fucking pennies in their eyes. There's murals up all over the place. Then there's one in Tokyo, Japan, which is also a hot dog restaurant. Don't even know why that is. And right here in the U.S., in the French Quarter of New Orleans, for the last 20 years, has been the Boondock Saint, owned by 3 retired cops. They're playing the movie on both movies on revolving loop. They got their own merchandise. I have nothing to do with these places. And, if that's not enough, there was, I found out a couple of years ago, there's a Boondock Saints MC. It's a motorcycle club. It's first, I made contact with these guys, about the funnest guys in the world. There's about 150 full patch members. And mother chapter started in Johannesburg, South Africa. Then another chapter opened up in Cape Town, South Africa, of the Boondock Saints MC. Then a third in Belgium. So all those members are there now. And there's going to be a fourth and a fifth, one in Spain, one in France, opening up this year. And they're going to have over 200 fucking full patch members.
Holy shit.
Of this MC. And once I made contact with them, they sent me a cut.
Oh.
This thing, all prepared.
Oh, damn.
Oh my gosh.
That's fucking awesome.
This thing weighs like 15 pounds.
Yeah.
So, I don't know if you can see it, but
We can see it.
Got that patch on the back. And they gave me all the legal paperwork I need to make the first chapter in the U.S. and I'm the president of it. So I'm thinking of doing that, and that ties into all it's kind of that concern about men and boys. I think these youngsters probably need a couple of wise old men like us to smack them in the back of the head every now and then and show them how to fucking act right. But like all these things have happened, which is why the book to me, I could never understand it. I could never understand why people do things like this and open up bars and get tattoos. We're one of the most tattooed films of all time. You look it up on the internet right now, there's 1.3 million. And that's just the people that have taken pictures of them. I mean, you're one of them, Beekler.
Yes, I am.
You didn't get that tat in prison, did you?
No. It's old. This tat is old, but not in prison.
Well, that's the thing. That's the thing that spoke to me about writing a book. Now I can take all those people on a much deeper, longer journey with Connor and Murphy that is much more exciting. They love these guys.
Mm-hmm.
And I love these guys. I think that they're probably, this is going to, fuck it. I think they're the two most iconic brothers in movie history. And I think that I can make them even more so with this book. Once you see, I mean, it's almost like I get to take everything we did in Boondock to a deeper level. You like the fucking one-liners? Yeah, there was a couple dozen in there, but there's hundreds here.
Oh, nice.
You like all the kind of action sequences and them getting into really crazy shit? Yes. And now you get to see other things too, like how the differences between them. We know Connor and Murphy, how similar they can be. And that's really cool to watch them kind of move in lockstep in a movie and to not have to talk. Just you watch that kill switch get thrown and suddenly toilet scene. You watch them protect each other and love each other and kill the bad guys. Now you get to see what their differences are. You get to see all the things that separate. So there's some fucking sibling rivalry here now, and all the other things too. The twins, like, I don't want to go into it too much because there's some surprises. I know fans are going to go, oh shit. So I don't want to say the oh shit moments, but this is the kind of thing that, like, when my memories, my favorite memories of Boondock Saints were the days I was writing it before anything was anything. When I figured out that creative thing, like that, I remember exactly where I was and what I was doing when I said, hey, what if we investigate the crime scenes first and then show the brothers do it in flashback? I remember right where I was, and I was like, and then when I started writing it, I got so much juice out of it. I was like, that's a great fucking idea, So those were the times that I remember that I have the clearest, most colorful memories of in terms of writing Boondock. And that's what I've been doing for the last year on a much deeper level. So, those fans out there that have first of all, I thank you all from the bottom of my heart. I can die now. A happy man. I did what I came here to do. There is something special about Boondock Saints. And this book allows me to take that special and shove it right up your fucking ass.
Nice. Perfect. So when can we expect it? You have any idea?
Audiobook will probably be out within the next 60 to 90 days.
Mm.
By the way, there's so much crazy work to do with that. Once you get all the chapters done, you realize you got to go back in there and edit them and take out all the little ticks and dings. And every time I screwed up reading, they actually have to build. So I got these awesome dudes down here in Nashville I met, Jake Brown and Ray. Jake does a television show called About the Author on Tubi. I did an episode of his show. We haven't put out that episode yet. These guys are fucking fantastic. It's kind of weird down here living this kind of country boy life, but there are some cool things about it too. Nashville is pretty cool. I should have just gone there, instead of an hour outside. I just figured, what the hell?
You're close enough to a big city.
Yeah.
I wish I was an hour outside, but that's great. That's great. Now, okay, I got a quick question about the audiobook process. Like how often do you go in? How long do the sessions go? It's purely selfish, by the way.
they tell you to go in and do no more than 10,000 words a day. Right. But I was like, screw it. I was at my buddy's studio, Chris Flores, his rehab studios out in LA. And I was like, let's just keep jamming until we get this thing done. It took me 6 days, but I'm at 560 pages. So just do the math if you can read as stupidly and quickly as I can. But now it's going to take me a little longer. I'm going to give you guys your parts. You just record them and send them along, and I'll drop them in. But that's going to be happening now. Like on my podcast, I'm planning on having my dad on.
Awesome.
And asking him. And by the way, he doesn't even have the fucking internet. He just got a cell phone like 3 days ago. So he has no danger of seeing this.
Yeah.
But it's funny. Like, I'm going to remind him. I can't wait to see what his reaction is. I'm going to remind him that he and I wrote the Brothers' Prayer together. I think he forgot about that. It was this thing that he and I cobbled together, and then I figured out this rhymey thing. And by the time it was done, it was done. But I think he forgot. I want to basically show him pictures of kids that have that entire prayer tattooed
on their back. Yeah.
The words of Father and Son so many times. He has no fucking clue. He's like proud of me. He's like, yeah, I'm Boondock Saints. I'm always having to send posters and T-shirts for his friends and shit. But he doesn't know about that. He hangs in like, he's like a wine drinking hotelier.
Oh, yes. Okay.
Yeah,
well, that's cool though. That's cool. That's excellent. Thank you again. Let's get some questions before we close things out. Chris, how you doing? You okay, buddy?
I gotta pee.
Go pee. Why didn't you do it every?
Be right back.
So,
I can hear while I'm peeing.
I'm gonna give you some unsolicited advice for streaming, Chris. Just pee where you're sitting. Okay, just do what everybody else. Do it.
I have an old man bladder.
Put an empty milk jug right under your chair.
Right.
You can get it done on. Just don't make a pee face. Don't just be like, oh god.
Maybe turn the camera off. When you
The Observer for $5 says, I live in Tennessee, do armed security and enjoy discussing everything from religion, politics to conspiracies. Would love to be on Troy's podcast. Well, hit him up.
All right.
There you go.
Send me that guy's stuff. Was that a guy or a girl?
That was a guy. It was
Observer.
The Observer.
The Observer.
Samuel Ayrton has donated $99.99.
$100?
$100.
Yeah.
$100 effing dollars.
All right.
Samuel, thank you.
Samuel what?
Samuel Ayrton, Aritan. Me and all my friends got pea coats due to your films back in the day. I appreciate your work because it was unapologetic about potential taboo and world conversations, and you paired that with action and fights. We daydream about it. It felt real. Also, hail the fellowship. That's nice.
Oh, that's great. All right, Samuel, $100. I mean, you gotta here.
I gotta start doing this.
I drew a little picture for him.
Oh my god!
Screenshot of that, Sam.
Screenshot that, Samuel. That's fucking awesome. You rule, Troy. You're fucking great. We got to have you back, dude.
I get real sensitive about people spending money.
Troy should be on FNT. FNT. He'd fit in. I think he'd fit in on FNT.
Friday Night Tights.
Oh, Friday.
You'd like it.
Oh,
You'd
Friday
like
Night
it, Troy.
Tights. It's a shit show, but it's fun.
Yeah.
Do you guys do it?
Yeah. I'm on with
whatever.
X-Ray Girl and a bunch of homosexuals, and we just talk shit for 3 hours, and somehow people enjoy it. Thank you, by the way.
All right.
You got Troy. You got to watch every Friday. It's my ritual.
All right,
I've got
cool.
FNT on. I never miss it.
Thanks, Chris.
FNT.
Friday Night Tights. So it's a play on Friday Night Lights, and the chat chose the title of the show.
Okay, it's a chat through Nerdrotic though, right?
Yeah, it's Nerdrotic every Friday, 3 p.m. Central.
All right, I'm
not
watching
exactly
it, boys.
night, but we have a couple of Brits on.
It's night somewhere.
Oh no, really?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Do they call? You know what upsets me about Brits?
They're
They
all
can say
cunts.
the C word.
Yes.
That they're all a pack of cunts. They can say the C word, and like when we do it, it just sounds all trailer park shitty.
Yeah,
but
it's
they're
terrible.
like, oh, hello, cunt.
Hello,
How you
cunt.
doing today?
Yeah. Oh, that's
Poetic.
We need to take it back from those limey
We
pricks.
do. We do. Well, they're suffering right now. We're not. So.
Oh, I know, man. They're this close. They're this close to
They're on
losing
the
their
brink.
country. Oh my God. Oh God. I saw this protest the other day where they're just yanking down the Union Jack flag and putting up like some one of their flags and defacing their historical sites, and that whole fucking the grooming rape gang scandal. Holy shit, dude.
Fucking nuts. And it's been going on for so long, and they're trying to blame the messenger about. I don't give a shit what Tommy Robinson did in the past. I really don't. You might. I don't care if you like him or not, but I
do. I think he's. They keep saying he's racist, and I keep looking and looking and looking.
Yeah.
And they're like, here's an example, and it's never an example. He's always like, look, he's trying to like point facts out. There was one time, like next time you do Piers, not hit him with this.
Okay.
He was on years ago. Tommy Robinson was on Good Morning Britain when Piers was hosting.
Yep.
Go back and watch that, because I thought, all right, that Piers is the one saying he's a racist, and I went back and watched it. And if you have even a slightly critical mind, it's just Piers getting really angry, and the guy trying to calm him down and point out facts. And it again didn't come off to me as racist. Everything I've seen has been people calling him that. But I haven't seen anything where he actually does or says anything like that.
I haven't either, right? And when Tim Pool was talking about this with Piers, and Piers went back down, but I really got what Tim was trying to say is, where are we hearing this from? Like what we are hearing it from the apparatus that has been covering up rape games. So you have to understand why Americans who we don't see it all, UK. But you have to understand why we are skeptical. That's all Tim was saying. And until I see different, I'm not going to shoot the messenger. Again, feel however you want about Tommy Robinson. His message still resonates. His message is still important. And the fact that it's still getting covered up, and like the biggest question should be not Tommy Robinson or anybody else. It should be, why is the government not running an inquiry? Why?
Yeah, well, I mean, that does link into Robinson as far as I'm concerned, because they're claiming, oh no, he's in jail where he belongs on, contempt of court charges. It's like, this has been going on for 20 years. He was the only one yelling and screaming from the hilltops. So we have seen governmental corrupt authorities crush all of this, all the way down to the people that were complaining from the streets. The people getting raped were getting arrested. We've seen governmental corrupt authorities crank down on everyone and cover this whole thing up. You're telling me they didn't do the same to Tommy Robinson, the one that was screaming it from the hilltops? They fucked with his life like they fucked with everybody else's. You guys should watch his little documentary that he just put out before he went into prison.
Yep. For contempt of court, which is, I don't know how it runs in the UK. And again, I'm not a citizen of the UK. So, and I've had people reach out to me and say stuff. And I'm like, listen, I'm an ex-felon too, right?
Yeah.
I've done a lot of bad shit too. And it doesn't take away from the message. Forget the messenger.
Yeah.
Look at the fucking message. This is the same BBC that covered up Jimmy Savile forever, even after he was fucking dead. The same BBC that had a presenter that's going to fucking jail right now for bad stuff. Bad stuff. Yeah, pedophilia.
Yeah.
So I see a pattern. I see a fucking pattern there. So that's horrible. And now it's all of a sudden it's a right-wing position to like want to call out fucking rape gangs and pedos. Okay, then I'm fucking right wing. So what? Who gives a fuck at this point?
You remember when that just used the use of language there? They're not moms anymore. They're birthing persons. They're not pedophiles anymore. They're minor attracted peoples. I never knew what the benefit that they got from fucking with our terminology was until I reread 1984.
1984. Yep.
Yeah, I guess I just hit Orwell again recently, and oh my God, basically when you can just soften these terms, you make it more acceptable, and you also now you're going to win the argument no matter what. It's a way to win no matter what. If we accept these new terms, then they win all the time when we have to debate it. So that's one of the reasons why I say, mom and fucking pedophile. You are a pedophile.
Pedophile. You're not a map.
Disgusting.
But we can play their. This is an old joke. Sorry, audience. Troy might not have heard it, but we can play their game. So minor attractive person maps. I collect maps. I got fantasy maps. I got maps everywhere. You know what I do with maps? I nail them to the wall. I'll sometimes hang them from the ceiling.
Yeah.
Those are two things you can do with maps.
What would let's make up one for serial killer.
For serial.
Yeah, what's a PC term for serial killer? Do you have people? Can you ask the people?
Death attracted person. I don't know.
What?
Death attracted person.
Yeah. It has to be something about like how they don't know the person, right? Like a stranger eliminate.
I know that like in some cases, well, it definitely is like serial killers. It's a kink, right? So that maybe they'll find some way to put that into some. It's just a kink, snuff films. They're just a kink. Let's get to some of these questions here for Troy, or just comments here. Hail to the fellowship. Troy, Duffy, Boondock Saints help keep me entertained while on deployment, says Joey Medj for $5. See, this is where pop culture matters. Escapism matters.
Joey? Okay, well, Joey, I got something for you. We went and did a USO tour in 2010. Me and the brothers and a couple other guys that were in the cast. And it was so awesome. I mean, we are like Boondock it's got to go like Full Metal Platoon Boondock.
Yep.
And I had so many. So we were in Djibouti, Africa, and a couple other places. Went to Fort Lemonnier there, and it was awesome. But I got to also see some like top secret shit.
Oh, awesome.
Dude, I saw like fucking drones I shouldn't have been seeing. I saw it was crazy, man. And these guys are it's like what during the lockdown, we were kind of all in our houses losing it a little bit. If we didn't have anybody or we didn't have an outlet. But these guys, they somehow keep cheerful in the military. It was just such an awesome experience meeting all those soldiers and seeing how they did it. And it's great because they got a challenge coin from every unit we visited. Went back with a bunch of brass, and they all kind of look like this is one of the ones we got over there. I'm just fucking camera.
Oh, brilliant!
This is like a Horn of Africa stuff. This is like a really big, heavy one. Look at that baby. This was all done in. They have all these, and it was like some of the coolest shit hanging out, having drinks with these guys,
Hell yeah. Again, importance of escapism and pop culture. Grim Jim for $9.99 for Troy, it says. Probably wasn't supposed to read that, but I'm Kathleen Kennedy and Biden when it comes to reading shit. Have you seen the film Mandy starring Nicolas Cage? If so, what were your thoughts on it? For me, it was the coolest indie revenge flick I've seen since the original Boondock Saints. Have you seen Mandy?
No, but
Chris, you've seen Mandy.
I'm going to check it out. How is it, Chris?
No, he hasn't seen it.
So good.
Oh, okay.
It's so good. You haven't seen it, Gary?
No,
I haven't seen Mandy either.
Mandy is phenomenal. Nicolas Cage, best thing he's done.
Where can we see this? Can we get this on Netflix?
VOD or whatever. Look up Mandy.
Okay.
It's phenomenal. It's like also partly inspired by heavy metal comics.
Really?
Yeah, I can't believe you never saw it. Mandy. Nicolas
What's the essential? What's the one-liner plot? What's the one-liner on it? What happened?
Band of bandits kidnaps a guy's girlfriend, and it's a revenge he goes for revenge.
In the Pacific Northwest in
I don't wanna
1983,
say-
outsiders
I-
Red Miller and Mandy Bloom lead a loving and peaceful existence when their pine-scented haven savagely destroyed by a cult led by sadistic, and that's where it ends.
Oh my God, you're gonna be so good at your audiobook, bro.
There's a scene where Nick Cage he's covered in blood in his bathroom. It's a long shot that is the greatest acting. It's one guy in a room in a bathroom dealing with what has just happened, and it's
Oh, is it the
phenomenal.
clip that
Very-
Drink? Is that the clip
Yes.
Drinker puts in his? Okay. Gotcha.
All right, I'm checking it
where-
out. I'm checking it out
The
now.
clip where Nick Cage is just it's dude, the places he goes in this movie is
Oh,
phenomenal.
God.
Played at Sundance at the midnight, which Sundance that's a whole other conversation.
Yeah,
Oh,
we gotta,
Rudy,
we gotta do a bullet point thing and come up with like 10 quick things we want to talk about next time.
Sure,
Ten.
and that'll be a 6-hour live stream. But I'm
Yeah.
down.
Yeah,
I am fucking
yeah.
down. I am down. Rudy for
Maybe I don't
$5.
care.
Troy
It's like
Duff.
all I'm doing is sitting in my fucking house anyway. This
Yeah.
is like way better. This is way better. I remember, man, doing Chris is like we didn't want to get off the goddamn. He was like, I gotta go now because there's another guy coming on.
Yeah.
And I was like, shit.
Rudy for $5 says Troy Duffy is definitely the kind of dude I'd like to have a beer with. There you go. Hell yeah.
Right.
Kenny Ramey for $5 says Troy, I watch the Boondock Saints at least once a year. Thank you for entertaining me over the years.
You're welcome, Kenny. And I have to say, I hear that story from so many people. They'll watch it on St. Patrick's Day, or they do it a couple times a year. That's one of the biggest compliments any filmmaker's ever got. Like, if you guys ever been scrolling through, there's nothing on TV, but you'll see like Goodfellas.
Yep.
And just start like
Fired
Godfather.
up, Godfather, fired up, Boondock Saints, fired up. That's in my rotation. Absolutely.
I do that all the time with just precious few movies. So the people that tell me they do that with Boondock, it's just that's a
Hell
thank
yeah.
you, Kenny.
Dude.
Hey, Kenny.
So many filmmakers would fucking die to have one movie like Boondock Saints that is like universally loved by fans. Critics probably say they always loved it, probably didn't at the time. Doesn't fucking matter. Totally critic-proof movie, by the way. One that was birthed by word of mouth completely. That's how I heard about it.
Critics hate it. They've always hated it. And yes, now that's kind of become a part of the lexicon out there. They're like, oh, they're using it as comparison for other movies.
There you go. We have Timothy for 50. Timothy says, hey, Troy, didn't know you were so fucking rad, Troy. Earned a huge fan today. Look at that. Look at that.
All right, hold on. He spent 50
Right on, Timothy. Yeah.
Hold on.
Gonna get a love note. Or something.
Hold on. We got to do something for Timmy. All right, ready?
Timmy.
Okay.
Timmy. Live loud, Timmy.
This goddamn camera. Oh,
Dude, those are
AI,
crazy.
yeah.
I think we should have everybody on FNT have those cameras. That'd be so funny.
Oh no.
I'd be the worst as much as I move my hands. I'm like Gavin
Have-
Newsom, except more, not as
Okay, the
calculated.
wildfires coverage in LA is a joke. It's a shit show. I was watching one press conference and balloons started coming up during the press conference. It was literally a circus. The balloons. I was like,
shit.
They're shooting this on fucking Apple bullshit.
Oh,
It's so dumb.
that is hilarious.
It was so idiotic.
We have 10 bodies that have just been pulled out of the fire. Balloons.
Oh,
fuck.
Confetti.
Oh, it's a joke. LA
Jesus
is
Christ.
a joke.
Rod, is it Rod X? X-Ray Girl?
I think it's Red X. or
Red
Red
X.
Pen.
It's
I
in
don't
a
know.
weird font that I can't understand because I'm a simple man. Sorry, Red X for $5 says, hello, everyone. Quick question. I am writing a story pilot and wondering how to make it memorable. Hail to the fellowship. Long live Schlurpo.
Yeah, I can answer that one.
Sure.
your cold open is the most important part. They don't read beyond that, right? So you want a good, I would say, I mean, if it's a television thing, you can get out in 4 to 6. If it's a movie, you got 10 pages. They'll read the first 10 pages, especially if that, if you have a 10-page cold open that sets the table and is really good. A lot of scripts don't really do that, but television for sure. Your cold open is everything in television. I just read one of the best cold opens is a buddy of mine I'm working on his script with. It's my buddy Aaron Berg. He was one of the actors in Boondock 2. Kind of short, bald guy. Brothers blow him away. He was a character, terrific actor, a comedian, and he's essentially writing a story that's an exaggeration of his life. He was a stripper in Canada in the late 90s, and a male stripper, and he has to do it again because the economy takes shit, right? He's got one of the best cold opens that I've ever read because he literally takes every terrible thing that's happened, like a big political thing, and directly relates to how it just ruined his new career, right? It's just like, he did a really beautiful thing there. So then what was this person's name?
This was
Red 10 or Red X.
Red 10 or Red X. Watch my podcast, Boondoctor podcast, when it comes out. We're going to be talking to writers about just this type of thing. I'm going to be walking writers, budding young writers, through the process of creating a television pitch and videotaping the 2 that I have sold, so you can see what actually works, and walking you through the process. But you're already ahead of the game by being curious about the creative process and not being like, oh, I want my deal. My shit's tight. Seeking knowledge. Seeking knowledge is the best thing you can do if you want to start writing, writing
curious.
things for real. Yeah.
Hey, you were talking about Landman. It's got a great cold open. That fucking hooks you right away.
Great. That's great. Yeah, but then that's why the whole rest of it is awesome too. It's not just a great cold open, then it falls off a cliff. It's like, I love this guy. He's the best.
They establish that character immediately, which is great.
Yeah, those are good writers. Follow those guys. I wonder if those guys are doing podcasts. I love the idea of getting into this world and knowing guys like you, having a bunch of bros in the podcast arena. That way we can help as many people as possible. But I mean, I know that there's a certain amount of bitching about film and politics and all this stuff, but in terms of the craft of writing and directing itself, that's something I really seek to get into with mine. I want to walk kids down that want to do this down those paths and tell them some of the things they'll have to deal with, how to sidestep landmines, how to challenge themselves creatively and write something truly good that not just your mom's like, oh my God, you're a genius.
Yes, and that's what people will need to hear, especially your perspective on the old way of doing things and now this new way of doing things, where indie film is it's not going to be as much finding money and finding from a producer in Hollywood. You're going to have to find it from other avenues. Maybe you even crowdfund, or you.
Did you guys hear? They've been doing crowdfunding for a while, and maybe that's a cool thing. You guys hear about Wahlberg and Gibson buying? They're doing new studio in Vegas.
In Vegas,
I think Pat Williams is doing one down in like Alabama, and what's his name? Who's Medea?
Oh, Tyler Perry. He does it in Atlanta. He's got a huge operation, and if it fragments, that's more opportunities, and make it more artisanal. Make it like small, like a mom and pop studio.
Yeah,
it's not a bad idea.
Challenge.
Yeah,
that's a challenge. I'm not sure how much of one, but that is a direct challenge to the big studios in Hollywood. That's Paramount. That's Sony. Warner Brothers. They don't like seeing that. They don't like seeing really talented big guys like Mel Gibson and Mark Wahlberg go off and do a project like that. Now they're going to be watching, seeing what kind of movies start rolling out of this place. Yep. That is going to be cool. That's what I want to see. I mean, are you guys? I doubt we're going to be seeing woke movies out of these guys.
No. Angela Richter for $10 says, Troy Duffy, all right, made our favorite family film. There you go. Boondock Saints is a family film.
Dude, I hear that all the time. I went to this one Boondock event. I saw grandma and grandpa, the son, wife, daughter, all the way down to grandkids. And I'm like, you haven't actually seen this movie. And they're like 6. And he's like, yes.
Yes. Camel Toe Tag for $5 says, Troy, was it your idea to put Defoe in Boondocks? If so, thank you.
Yes. As soon as I met him, it was a fun story. I went and see, he's got this theater called the Wooster Group in New York City. And he just funds this thing, and all of his favorite actors from the local colleges and old friends of his, they just do all this crazy shit. First time I saw him, check this out. He's dressed up as this kind of kabuki warrior, got all this harsh makeup, and there's all these televisions blasting shit all over the stage, and he's just raging through dancing. And that was it, I met him up in the dressing room, and I'm like, wow, that was fucked up, bro.
I love that. He's a international treasure, Willem Dafoe.
Oh, yeah.
Fucking love him.
He is.
Dane Miller for $5 says, Troy, how do you feel about the Rings of Power? Probably haven't seen it if you're smart.
Rings of Power. Oh, is that the new one with the
Lord of the Rings show? Yeah.
All right. I feel like some of it's good, but yeah, you kind of get hit with the.
I think it's the ninth circle of hell, but go ahead.
I know you take that a lot more seriously than I do. And besides, we already got our Lord of the Ring trilogy. Everything that Tolkien really did has been preserved.
It's been preserved. Yeah, it won't taint it, but yeah.
No, but you wish you had people that Again, like we were talking about with Disney, just appreciate the heirloom brands that are just that legendary and good. So yeah, of course it's not as well written. Of course I don't like seeing orc families. Like I'm supposed to feel fucking pain for orcs. They're disgusting. They kill men. That's the enemy. There's some mistakes made there that I could tell that they were like, wouldn't it be nice if? Wouldn't it be amazing if? And again, just like Gore said, there needs to be an asshole in the room going, no,
nope,
no.
I like being
that.
I like being an asshole. I don't really give a shit.
There you go.
But I'm an asshole for good, not evil. There is a being an asshole for good. I think Cameron can be an asshole for good. You know what it's like on a film set. People fucking around, whatever. You need that line producer, that first AD. There's a prick. They're like ex-cops. They're like really angry guys. You know what I'm talking about, Troy. On a film set, the first AD is a fucking get your shit solving problems. That's all people on a film set do all day.
Yeah, I have been lucky enough to when it was my first set was magic. It was absolutely magic because all those Canadians were sick and tired of working on shit. So they all stepped down, took pay cuts. So my set was different. Everybody was like, what do you want us to do? Because they loved the script so much. Then in my second one, it was kind of the same thing because Boondock was legend by that point. Now everybody wanted to fucking work on. I tried to go get everybody that I could back. A lot of them were out of the business and I had to replace. So they were vying to get on it. So I had a bit of a different experience because of the nature of this one. But I have been on other sets where, I'll watch some of my buddies. I'm like, how the fuck do you deal with this shit? Are you kidding me now? You kidding me right now?
All right. We're going to do a couple more. Then we got to get out of here. The Man Bro Dude for $20 says, Boondock Saints was me and my buddy's party movie in high school. Rush, Zeppelin, and White Rapids. Billiard scene were major parts of me starting to play drums. Thanks for your work, and I look forward to the book/audiobook.
Well, you've got great taste, you and your friends.
You have inspired.
Amazing.
You have inspired. Hello, gentlemen. Still writing my. This is JRL 1436 for $19.99. By the way, hello, gentlemen. Still writing my story. Hopefully, first comic comes out in the next 5 years or earlier. Haven't seen Boondock Saints, but this interview has me interested. Appreciate you guys and have a blessed day. Go watch it right now.
All right.
Go watch it right now.
Making new fans as we speak.
Yes, we are. And Tony just says, Gary, get Crazy Trump. 4 days and a wake up. Oh yeah, dude. Yeah, he gets sworn
that's
into
right.
office.
He's getting inaugurated, right?
Yeah, we still got 5 days of Joe Biden. Let's hope we survive. All right, I'm gonna get the rest on the Square Up on Monday. Thank you, everyone who gave a join. This was tons of fucking fun, by the way.
Man,
this was
guys, we gotta do
great.
this again.
Well, maybe we'll do it again much sooner. You never know. But
all right, I'll send X-Ray the stuff for your lines. I want
Yes.
to go through tonight and pick some choice A, B, and C. Okay.
Okay. Sounds good.
sounds perfect.
All right.
So, Chris, what do you got coming up? Thanks for staying so long, buddy. This is the greatest Chris has
He
ever
forgets
been.
that his mic is muted.
He's the greatest Chris has ever been on a live stream. Is when
Sounds
he's muted.
like a woman.
You're muted, Chris.
I
Muted.
know. There's trucks outside my place. They're banging next door.
You can only hear
I
that.
can't hear
We
it.
can't even hear that. It's
Yeah.
just
You don't think
fine.
so? All right. Well, anyways, Hollywood on the Rocks in less than an hour. Alan Ng is reviewing Section 31.
Oh, he saw it.
Yeah.
It's a Star Trek movie. It's terrible, Troy. It's
Section that's
Well,
a
that's
Star
also
Trek
true.
thing. I gave up on Star Trek a while ago. Man.
Yep.
They
Yeah,
hammered that one.
as everybody. So
I can't. Well,
I
it's
gotta
got
go-
Asian representation, so he's gonna love it, right? He can see himself.
I yeah. I like the Asians. So there you go.
X-Ray Girl was awesome in Section 31. That's what we're gonna hear.
I like the Asians.
Yes. They're really good at math.
Got a little yellow fever.
You are
Thanks, Chris.
Asian.
Thank you, Chris. X-Ray Girl, what do you got coming up?
Tonight, Poor Choices at 8:30 p.m. Eastern, and then more gaming, of course. So, yeah.
All right, and Troy, Duffy, tell the fine people where they can find you and what you have coming up.
Yeah, I guess we have our official Boondock Saints on Facebook and TikTok, and there's a Twitter one, and Instagram. But yeah, all of our little updates are going to be on there. And yeah, just so the fans know, yes, within the next 60 to 90 days, we'll be releasing that audiobook. And I look forward to that. And we're going to start filming the Boondoctor podcast because I have been inspired by you two cunts.
Awesome. Yes.
To do it, we're gonna start getting those in the pipeline here pretty soon. So keep your eye out for the Boondoctor podcast. And also, one of the really cool things that we'll be doing is I've written a script called the Blood Spoon Council. After Boondock Saints, this is my next offering. I want to make this the next franchise. And we have attached some producers and found a director out of Australia, this brilliant young kid named Tyler Atkins, who just got done doing a Russell Crowe movie, actually. And we are going to go through this thing we call the Sacred Circle. We went through the script together, and talked about every single scene. This is one of those things I want to slip into the podcast to show the kids coming up how creatives think about it and how they put it together visually from what's on the page. So that's going to be fun. So keep your eye out for that. But other than that, yeah, fucking do cool shit and have cool conversations.
Awesome. Thanks for coming on. We will have you back very soon. Troy Duffy was fucking awesome. Yeah.
I can't wait.
We'll be back for FNT. I'm probably gonna do. I'm probably gonna do a video. I guess that Daredevil trailer was fucking awesome. So
I haven't seen it yet.
Oh shit! I was like, oh, don't fuck this up. And I know it's just a trailer, but there's your spoiler. It was
That's
fucking
huge.
awesome. I've watched it 5 or 6 times.
You ever
already.
been screwed? Like you go into watch the movie and every good thing was in the trailer.
Yes, a lot.
Oh God, I hate that.
hate
I feel like
that.
going back to him and go, I want 8 of my $10 back.
Yep. I usually want my $10. It's the time. Keep the $8. Can I have my 2 hours back, please? There's only so much of it left. So again, thank you for the super chats and donations. We'll do the Square Up on Monday on Nerdrotic Live and Rumble. Thank you for joining us today. We'll be back next Wednesday for another nooner. And we hope you have a great day. Thanks to the Modrotics. Ciao, everybody.
All right.
Bye.
You guys, bye bye.